listen,
Mm.
you know, I've got hair on my head.
Mm-hmm.
But the one place I can't grow hair is on my face, except
I'm
for a
yeah.
couple key
Uh-huh.
areas.
I'm very similar. Yeah.
My eyebrow hairs will get very long and very aggressive unless I cut them.
Uh-huh.
My ear hairs will get very long and very
Oh,
aggressive.
that's early. Yeah.
My nose hairs will get long and aggressive.
I
But
hate those.
God forbid a hair on my face grows long. I can't do it. And it's just so frustrating. And this, I think, is part of becoming an old man, hence my name.
Uh-huh. That's the story behind the name.
I've got ear hairs, I've got nose hairs, I've got eyebrow hairs. Don't have
No
face
face
hair.
hair.
Don't have face hairs though, for some godforeseen reason.
It's definitely genetic, I guess, because I mean, for me too, it's still growing in. Like I still have places where I can't grow a full beard. Like it'll
Yeah,
look funny, and so, but you know, even my age, it's still even the patches. Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, I had like much more open space, but it's growing in. But does that make any sense? Like,
no,
shouldn't it be done by like 25?
yeah, you think so, right? Like I couldn't grow any facial hair until I was about like 27, 28. And then after that stopped growing, and now I just get like weird hairs growing out of my noses, my
Yeah,
nostrils.
that counts. Yep, old man Topher. I mean, especially the ears. The ears is a
Oh, the
definite sign
ears,
of age.
that's such
Yeah.
a weird one.
I
I have
know.
never had ear hairs until a
Yeah.
couple of years ago.
Yep. It comes in with age. So crazy. And nose hairs. I mean, yeah, we had nose hairs when we were younger, but the older you get, it's more aggressive.
Yeah.
Just like you said. Yeah.
Like I swear, I have
Weird.
to so I have to shave my face like once a month. I have to shave my nostrils like once every couple days. It's obnoxious.
All right, that's a
'Cause
lot. That's
I'll
crazy.
I'll be at work and I go, man, I'll be always itching at my nose. I go, what is scratching my nose? And it's just, and then I'm not picking my nose at work, but like I dig in there and I
Uh-huh.
go, oh God, it's a nostril hair. That's what itching my nose.
It's a forest in there.
Yeah. I don't
Well,
know what to do, and I'm even at the point where I'm plucking them, and
dude, that
yeah,
hurts. That really hurts.
it hurts, but
Do you like the pain?
yeah,
Ah!
but like I can pluck as many nostril hairs as I want. They just don't go away. I don't know what to do. And
Well,
like
that's definitely an anomaly worth investigating, I
the
think.
ear hairs are fine. Like I can hide those because I've got long hair.
Right.
I keep my hair down, and
Yeah.
that's not a big deal. It's not super noticeable. The eyebrow hairs are the weirdest one because I've got normal looking eyebrows, but every
Yeah.
once in a while, I look in the mirror while I'm at work, like washing my hands or something, and I just have like one hair that's sticking out,
Rogue one.
and
A rogue one, yeah.
yeah, that's just like it's like 6 inches long, and I'm like, what? Where
Yep.
did you come from? What are you doing? How do I get rid of you?
That's what you need tweezers for. Yeah, same thing. I'm probably once a month there'll be a rogue one. I'm like, what? Where are you? Yeah, where'd you come from? Just take
Yeah,
this, pluck it out.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you gotta groom yourself, cuz it's
I
just part
do.
of it now.
I do groom myself.
No, I know. It's just part of it. I'm just saying, like, it's just part
Yeah,
of
it's part of it. Yeah, it's
yes.
part of becoming an old man.
Old man Topher.
Um,
I'm sure everyone's bored with my name. I just can't, I don't have the brain capacity to change it every week.
yeah, that is. I have a need to know, Adam.
That's right.
This is the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. I have no idea what episode we're on right now. 110 or is this
Episode
109?
118. 118.
What?
Yes, we're
I'm way-
118.
I was way off.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah,
A
I'm
wee
10
bit
episodes
lag.
behind. So this is episode 118 of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. We want to thank you all so much for joining us today. I don't know anything about this story, but it sounds like it's going to be a real wild one, real weird one, and I'm all
Yes.
here for it. I'm so excited.
Yes. It is a weird one. It's from Russia. I don't know why it got in my head, but I read it a while ago and it just fascinated me. And I remembered it the other day. I'm like, oh, we got to cover this. But I found it, even like the interview with the two truckers, but it's in Russia and is with these professional truckers. And there's a lot of just empty space and empty lands, right, in Russia. So and there's a lot going on with the UFO updates, some new whistleblowers we can talk about, and
Oh yeah, we'll be covering a lot today.
Yeah, we'll definitely be covering a lot. Oh, but let's play our music first. Where am I going?
Oh, only 30 seconds of it though, apparently.
Yes.
Just woke up and I can't feel my body.
And for some reason, it's not playing, is it? Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it. It's fine.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Nope, now it's gone. Nope, now it's back.
Weird. Well,
Need to get back to my kids, back to my wife. The little gray men, they point and screech. They must be upset that I'm off the leash. But don't worry, this will never happen to you.
all right. I'm gonna pause it now. Really weird, because I'm just telling you, I couldn't hear it. But it's good. It's you said you heard it, so
I did. I was able to hear it. You cut it off right at the wrong time, but apparently that's okay. We want to get into the UFO stuff.
what a farce. All right, here we go.
Yeah, you need a new computer, man.
No, I don't think something's going on with the studio, because that's not a computer thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into this. It happened in 1989 in Russia.
So on the night of 2nd November 1989, the air temperature dropped very suddenly to below freezing. Two professional Russian truck drivers. You can just say truck drivers.
I know, right? I guess they want to show you that, that's their job, and that's what they do. I don't know. Yeah.
Sure. Oleg, oh boy, Kurzakov and his companion Nikolai Barenchkanov were driving their truck from near the area of, oh man, I should have made you read this, Arkhangelsk to Moscow. They were hurrying home to finish all the formalities related to their business trip before the holidays. In the vicinity of the Emtsa railway station, the road was blocked by heaps of sand and gravel. The road in front of them was under repair, and Oleg had to turn onto a dirt road to detour. On one bend in the road, the truck's headlights fell upon a huge structure, which was standing off to the right of the road. And in quotes, he says, I thought, I'm not going to do a Russian accent. I thought it was some kind of construction equipment, said Oleg. There were many machines there because the road was under construction. Okay. However, when I drove closer, I saw a big object that in the headlights had a metallic sheen to it. When we got within 90 feet of the object, our motor stalled and our truck coasted several feet further and stopped. The headlights that were connected to the backup power source were still on. My partner and I couldn't understand what happened. The road at this point had a bend in it, and trees on the right side of the road blocked our view of the object. We understood that we were seeing something very unusual in front of us and were afraid that something unavoidable would happen. Hence, I asked Nikolai to remain in the truck and observe events while I approached the object. I left the cab and decided to approach the object to examine it more closely. After I had passed the hood of the truck, I began to feel, with each step I took, an increased resistance from the air. My body seemed to
melt.
Yeah. So this article's got a bunch of weird errors in it. It's
because this was a Nexus magazine article that's not available on Nexus magazine anymore. So I guess this was probably just copied, and because of that process of copying it over, sometimes you get these weird.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a euro sign in the middle of that word.
It is. Yeah.
My body seemed to something. It became difficult to move, and I knew that if I got any closer to the object, I would not be able to move at all. Oleg turned back to the truck and tried to approach the object from another direction. He moved carefully, stopping after each step. He felt the same constantly increasing resistance from the air. He succeeded in coming to within about 36 feet of the object. He stopped on the shoulder of the road and began to examine it very carefully. Very quickly, he came to the conclusion that this object was not of earthly origin.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, it was something very unusual. In front of Oleg, there stood a huge disc-shaped object, approximately 140 feet in diameter, with a dome-shaped top on which no other structures were visible. Along the perimeter of the disk, there were some dark holes evident, which Oleg at first thought were portholes. Extending from the lower part of the object, there were two structures visible, which seemed to support the ship.
All right.
The far edge of the disk was slightly elevated and was resting upon some birch trees, two of which were broken. The object looked dark and uninhabited, and there were no traces of windows, doors, or hatches. A fiery request. You want to take it from here? I'm tired of trying to.
A fiery request.
Yeah.
Why is the object here in the middle of the forest at night? What is its purpose? Maybe something has gone wrong and it needs assistance. All these questions flooded Oleg's mind, and at that very moment, in front of him, at a distance of an outstretched hand, right in the air, appeared a glimmering red dotted line. So it's like a, like a 3D thing just in the air there.
Yeah.
Like a hologram.
Yeah, I was gonna say a hologram. Yeah.
Yeah. This line formed a transparent square-shaped screen, 150 millimeters by 150 millimeters in size, with rounded corners.
Hell yeah! This guy got an iPhone way before iPhones were available.
Yes. Several words written in red letters appeared on the screen. Oleg did not remember the exact phrase, but the essence of the phrase was a request for "quote-unquote" burning fire.
So really, really quick, we covered the Betty Andreessen abduction a few weeks ago, and that was something that the aliens also asked for.
Was fire?
They asked for knowledge tested by fire.
Oh, maybe that's why it came back to me to memory or something. Cool. I didn't notice that. I didn't remember it. Oleg continued. I realized that the screen was illuminated on the body of the object. I mechanically turned to look back at Nikolai, who was still sitting in the cab of the truck. Once again, I observed the screen, but this time it appeared to be in front of the truck. I attempted to look from one side to the other, but no matter where I turned my eyes, the screen remained in front of them. The distance to the screen remained constant, and I reached out my hand to try to touch it. My friend Nikolai, who was watching these antics from the cab of the truck, later asked me why I moved my hands. Oh, he couldn't see it.
Poor Nikolai.
I know.
Nikolai is looking at the cab of the truck and watching Oleg do like interpretive dance, and he's going like, "What the fuck? What is he doing?"
He's 3B. The screen remained in front of me for the duration of the contact. However, the inscriptions which appeared on the screen remained only as long as was necessary for me to understand each one, and only then was the last inscription replaced by a new one. Only after Oleg understood what was being demanded of him, he carefully backed away from the object, constantly looking back toward the truck and still sensing the same resistance. He returned to the truck and tried to open the right door of the cab in order to obtain some kitchen matches.
So, really quick, honestly, I don't know this. In Russia, is the driver's side of the car, is that on the left side or the right side?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I would say it's probably left. I don't know why.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
It just doesn't feel, because yes, they're Europeans, but I don't think, and not all European countries, right? Like Switzerland's on the left, France is on the right.
Honestly, I don't know. I'm so American at this point.
Yeah, and I don't know what makes them choose differently, honestly. So, despite the combined efforts of both men, they were not able to open the door for a considerable length of time. Suddenly,
I'm sorry. I'm imagining them like the door lock. Like when it's locked, you can't open it from the outside. But the second someone tries to unlock it, but then you pull it and the lock. Down, and they're just going back and forth like.
Suddenly, the door was able to be opened quite easily. Oleg removed the box of matches from the truck's cabin, together with a bottle of laboratory alcohol. Sure,
which is normal. Normal in Russia. You just drive around with laboratory alcohol.
I mean, that's what vodka is, I guess, right? It's laboratory alcohol.
That's exactly what it is.
Which was used as an antifreeze in the braking system. That's hilarious. Again, asking Nikolai not to leave the truck, Oleg returned to the same place on the shoulder of the road where he had stood before. However, this time he was able to move easily, and he experienced none of the resistance he had encountered previously. He gathered some dry leaves into a pile, poured on some alcohol, and ignited them. Upon lifting his head, he observed that a passage appeared on the surface of the object, which extended into the interior, forming a corridor. At the distant end of this corridor, he said he could see a glimmering bluish light.
Oh my
Dude.
God. Are you guys cooking s'mores? I love s'mores.
Yeah, or they want the alcohol. At first, I had the impression that a shadow was moving inside the corridor, but then I realized that something was moving in the corridor toward the opening.
Oof.
When I finally realized what was occurring, I began stepping backward and fell into the ditch along the side of the road. I jumped back onto my feet and continued to observe what was happening. Something approached the opening, and I saw that it was a dark mass, which reminded me of a bag or sack.
So
It's different, huh?
yeah, I was gonna say. So we've at length talked about the Greys. We've talked about the Nordics. We've talked about
Reptilians,
reptilians, insectoids. But something that hasn't shown up in our research or in any episode, or even like when you listen to most ufologists talk about
Right.
aliens, they never talk about blob-shaped UFOs, which is what when you texted this to me, said, "Hey, let's research this case," I was like, "Hell yeah!" I mean, this is
bizarre.
this is so outside the bounds of what we normally cover.
Yeah, and exactly. Like a sack, a bag, a mass. So as the mass moved, it swayed and bent from side to side, and its periphery was vague in appearance. At this moment, a shaft extended from the object, bent, and descended to the surface of the ground. The mass slid down the shaft, and while increasing in size, approached the fire of burning leaves. Now it's like the burning bush. I was
Mhm.
paralyzed by fear. Yeah, obviously. Oh my God, I would have ran. Maybe. I don't know.
I would have.
The mass stood by the fire for a moment and then began to return to the object, taking with it the box of matches. Returning along the same path, the mass disappeared in the corridor together with the box of matches.
Oh my God, bro. Have you seen this thing? Humans can make fire using pieces of wood. Holy shit, dude.
Only then did I finally succeed in extracting myself from the ditch. I returned to the road and glanced back at my truck again. The truck's headlights blinded me, but I nevertheless could see the frightened face of Nikolai, which was pressed forward tightly against the windshield.
Oh boy.
You want
Yeah.
to get this?
An invitation to enter. For a long time, Oleg remained standing on the road and was unable to recover his senses. Yeah, obviously, that's wild.
Yeah.
Realizing that he was witnessing an event that he might never again experience, he decided to wait and observe what would happen next. Smart guy. He had a sudden wish to observe the ship more closely, and immediately an invitation to enter the ship appeared on the screen.
Oh yeah.
He got a text message on his holographic iPhone,
Weird.
which remained visible in front of him. After a short pause, Oleg decided to approach the object. The first thing that caught his attention was several round openings, approximately 300 millimeters in diameter, which at first he interpreted to be portholes. Inside these openings, at a depth of 350 millimeters, a quote unquote grid of intersecting lines, light gray in color, was visible. The central axis of the openings was displayed approximately 30 degrees from the plane formed by the surface of the object.
Whoa.
Oleg was able to examine one of the support legs that the object rested on. The leg consisted of two parts, which were connected at an articulating joint. The cross-section of each of the two parts of the leg was in the profile of a three-sided channel beam, with the lower part being smaller in diameter, such that it could be folded inside the upper portion. On the bottom of the ship, recessed areas were clearly visible into which the legs would be retracted. However, because of poor illumination in the area where the leg was located, Oleg was not able to examine in detail the actual construction of the leg. The far side of the object was resting on trees and was slanted toward Oleg, such that the lower portion of the opening was just above the level of his head. In order to establish the material that the object was made of, Oleg wanted to touch it with his hand. Really
Hmm.
smart guy for a truck
Yeah.
driver. This guy, he's doing everything he can to understand what's going on.
Yeah, he's brave, that's for sure.
Yeah, appreciate you, Oleg. A shaft came out of the portion of the object that was nearest to him. It appeared to be a round, smooth tube with a diameter of approximately 50 millimeters. The tube was cold and felt metallic. Then events developed in the following manner. Here
Dun
we go.
dun dun.
End quotes. I had a desire to look inside, but since the door was above my head, I decided to grab hold of the tube and jump. The instant I grabbed the tube, I found myself standing just inside the opening. There was nothing there in the form of either steps or an elevator. I did not feel any kind of external influence, but rather everything seemed to happen naturally or by itself. I thought of the possibility of danger to me and decided to be as careful as possible. At that instant, I received a message on the screen
What
that I
the
had nothing to be afraid of and that I could enter. Upon entering the corridor, I looked at the walls and noticed the absence of doors. The corridor was significantly wider than the opening. The floor was flat, and the walls and ceiling formed an oval shape.
Mhm.
I went along the corridor toward the shimmering light and felt that I was walking on a flat metallic floor. Somehow, I got the feeling that the surrounding walls did not have simply a decorative covering, but rather they were structural, and something was connected to them from the back side.
What does that mean? Like he thinks it's like electronics in there or something?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it. Like when you walk
Yeah.
through a hallway, the walls are connected
Yeah.
to the ceiling and floor. He's
Yeah.
talking about like the walls aren't connected to anything but whatever's behind them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like it's a panel instead of a wall.
Yeah, right.
There was clearly some sort of strengthening device attached to them. I did not want to touch the walls, so I am unable to say exactly what it was that served to strengthen them.
Masses of lights. Oleg had to proceed along the corridor for approximately 25 feet. At the end of the corridor, he saw that it entered into a large hall with a diameter of approximately 60 feet. On the periphery of the hall, there were 5 other entrances, similar in appearance to the one through which he had just entered. The ceiling of the hall was domed, and it was emitting a soft, diffuse blue light. Between the other entrances and along the walls, there were panels of flashing lights. Each panel appeared to consist of 5 or 6 vertical elements. To the left of the entrance through which Oleg had entered, 2 walls had no panels. In place of the panels, there were horizontal recesses in the walls, which were dark in color. Also to the left, he observed 2 dark, vague spots that looked like bags, which at first were motionless, but then began to move toward him.
Yikes.
The bags were identical to the mass which he had seen near the fire. Oleg stopped and stood motionless at the entrance to the hall. Quote, as soon as I looked around the hall, certain questions came to me, answers to which appeared immediately on the screen. But then I noticed that answers appeared in my head before I was able to read them on the screen.
Whoa.
Several answers were accompanied by demonstrations of the operation of those structures that interested me. In such a manner, my questions of the significance of the dark horizontal recess in the wall off to my left was demonstrated to me. The recess was a 3-dimensional information screen on which I was shown the interior of another sister ship with the same moving masses. During the demonstration, the 2 masses in our ship were motionless. Then they showed a ship in space among the stars, and at the end of the demonstration, they showed the presenter of a Soviet television program called Vremya.
Oh, I love
Right?
that show.
What the hell is that all about? Off to my right, there was an oval control panel or desk located about 5 feet from the wall, on which there were many switches and lights. All of the illuminated buttons had a flat, square shape. Some of them,
So he got to see the the control panel. That's wild.
yeah.
It's
Some of
like Fire in the Sky guy.
Exactly, but he was actually invited.
Yeah. This guy was invited. Fire in the Sky. Why? Travis Walton. He was not invited. He woke up on the operating table because they felt bad for blowing him up when they were trying to leave.
Exactly, and he fought his way into the control room, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Some of them were elevated above the level of the control panel, and others were flush with the top of the panel. On the upper surface of the lamps, there were some symbols in the form of geometric figures, example, circles, triangles, quadrilateral figures, lines, etc., and combinations of the above. The black switches on the panel were similar in appearance to toggle switches. There were no meters or scales on the control panel at all. In addition, Oleg described a long, straight divan,
Devon.
divan, which stood next to the control panel, and a circular crack in the floor which surrounded the central part of the hall. The crack gave him reason to believe that the central part of the floor was able to rotate, allowing the control panel to be positioned in front of any of the vertical panels situated along the walls.
Huh. That's pretty
On
cool.
On the vertical panels, Oleg noticed the same type of lights that were on the control panel. Many of these lights were flashing, just like Star Trek.
Yeah, seriously.
The entire interior of the hall was white in color, including the floor, and only from the ceiling shone soft blue light. Looking upward, Oleg tried to locate the source of the light while simultaneously asking about the nature of the light. No answer to his question appeared on the screen.
So wait, the screen was following him around?
Yeah. Yes.
That's so
wherever
cool,
he
man.
went. I
That's
mean, we can
so
do something
cool.
similar with two lasers, but you need operators there.
I mean,
directing them.
it's something out of a video game where you can always, check your HUD.
Yeah, exactly. Really weird. And this is 1989, so
Right.
I
This
mean,
is way before any of that kind of stuff was
right.
like a common trope.
Yeah. Looking upward, Oleg tried to locate the source of the light while simultaneously asking about the nature of the light. Oh, I already read that. Then, in response to his question, "Who are you and where are you from?" the dome in the hall slowly started to dim, and like in a planetarium, a star map appeared on the
He
ceiling.
got a star map too. This guy got the full treatment from these blobs. Oh,
I know.
man.
Blobs, control panels.
Yeah. He got control panels. He got the star map. He got an iPhone before those were a thing.
It's
Man.
crazy. While
Oleg.
Oleg's the man. Let's see how he is in his interviews, if he's a liar or not.
Yeah, great. Yeah, let's see it.
While Oleg was trying to find some familiar star system, one of the stars suddenly began to pulsate and descend slowly. The dark, almost black starlit sky combined with the pulsating star suspended over Oleg's head, as well as with the flashing lights of the control and vertical panels, emitted enough light to permit him to see all elements in the entire interior of the spacecraft. In a minute, the pulsating star slowly rose and the dome illuminated with a diffuse blue light. Oleg was unable to carefully study and remember the star map shown to him. He asked where this pulsating star was located. They answered, "This is in your galaxy."
Oh, boy. And, as we know, all humans on Earth, we know every, star system in our galaxy.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, show me a star map. I'll probably be able to find 5 things maybe. That's it. You know what I mean?
I can, if you show me a star map of anywhere in our galaxy, I can show you where a star is. Hey, that's a star.
I asked question after question. The answers I received were heard in my head before I saw them on the screen. All right. I asked, "What kind of ship am I on now? What kind of propulsion system do you use to make it fly?" In response, I was told that this spacecraft was a scout ship and used electromagnetic fields to fly. I was also told that they were studying our planet, which they need as a springboard to the future.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. In response to my question, "Do you have any connection with Bigfoot?" they said yes and added that they watch Bigfoot continue. All right, this is getting ridiculous.
Yeah, this is getting a little bit ridiculous.
As I was asking question after question, I suddenly noticed that a third mass had appeared in the hall and then a fourth. I watched a conversation take place between them and came to the understanding that the time for me to leave had arrived. My next thought was to leave. Oh, he asked about Bigfoot. That's a no-no.
So no. If this happened, the way Oleg, 100% the way Oleg is presenting it, I have the feeling that when he starts asking like insane questions, do you know Bigfoot? They're like, oh yeah, no, totally, we know Bigfoot. Like they're going along with whatever he's saying. That's my opinion.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Also, I think these quote unquote masses, these are just grays like in their sleeping bags.
They're hiding in their sleeping bags.
Yeah, they're just like
it's too late, man.
Oh my god, I'm so tired of this bullshit. I can't even get dressed for this. What does this human want now?
To do this?
Now he's asking about Bigfoot. Yeah, sure, we love Bigfoot.
Hilarious. I watched the conversation take place between them. All right, yeah, he has to leave.
Well, what is Nikolai doing during this whole?
I guess we'll see. I have no idea. You want to continue this?
Sure. I took off my watch and wanted to put it on the floor. He was trying to give them a gift. But at that moment, I was told that they had a complete knowledge of Earth and needed nothing. Huh. We know about Bigfoot. Your watch means nothing to us.
But they wanted matches. Okay.
But we watch our matches. We have not mastered fire yet. The coal in our engine won't turn on.
What the hell? Obviously,
for the first time during his visit, they asked me, quote, why do I use a watch made in another country?
What?
Then I asked, is it possible to see you once again? They said, if you are in danger, we will find you within 15 seconds. Backing out of a few steps from the hall, I turned and went along the corridor towards the opening. As I came along the opening of the spacecraft, I took a hold of the tube on my right hand, and I immediately found myself standing on the ground. Not looking back, because why would you? Right. I went to the ditch and crossed over to the road, to the same place where I'd stood a few minutes before. When I looked back, I noticed that the tube and the opening had disappeared. After a few seconds, I saw the outer rim begin to move in a clockwise direction.
Taking off.
The dome began to move approximately 30 seconds later in a counterclockwise direction, and a luminescence surrounded the spacecraft. As the revolutions became faster, the luminescence enveloped the spacecraft and became a ball of light. Oleg noticed that the rotation of all parts of the craft and the luminescence was happening in absolute silence. At this moment, he saw on the road 2 more cars with their headlights on. For a few seconds, this distracted his attention from the aircraft. The sound of the trees cracking made him turn and look at the spacecraft. The ball of light slightly shifted position and slowly began to rise. Abruptly accelerating, the craft shot out of sight towards the northeast. His friend Nikolai got out of the truck. Yep. And together with the occupants from the other vehicles came up to Oleg. They asked him a lot of questions. Oleg was impressed by the experience, but at the same time was too moved to speak or fully realize all that had just happened.
Wow.
His hands and legs were trembling. Yeah, when he got into his truck, he was unable to use the accelerator. Or to shift gears. He had to let his partner drive. Oleg leaned back on the truck seat and looked at his watch, which he still had in his hand. From the moment his truck had stopped, 20 minutes had passed. They still had a day and a half to get to Moscow, their destination.
Wow, so they're in the middle of nowhere, I guess. This is about the author.
Yeah, I'm not going to read all that.
UFO researcher in Russia, numerous papers, and he was a speaker at the 2004-2005 Nexus conference in Amsterdam.
Nice.
Nexus magazine.
So not just a random quack who wrote about this. This is a legitimate UFO researcher who interviewed these 2.
Right, exactly. And then I guess they're on Russian TV. So truck driver talks about his visit to an alien spaceship. So
now
here they are. So it's not just, huh?
Is this translated?
Yes, they have a dub. It's dubbed.
Nice.
Probably by AI or most likely.
Then, automatically, I caught myself thinking.
That's kind of AI, right? Now, we might be repeating some things here, but there might be some new things that come up in this. Who knows? But anyway, it's good to look at the information again.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That it was a flying vehicle. I received a telepathic mental signal, which was duplicated by the flash of the screen in front of my eyes, but at a distance of about an arm's length. and on it, as it is written here, and displayed that they need an open fire. I didn't immediately understand what it was, what they needed. I tried to reach the screen with my hand.
He looks like a stoner. But no, I mean, in all honesty, I guess you would set up some kind of test if you want to see if the species is advanced or something. You know,
Of
like
course.
if you have fire, it means you understand energy, and you're not just a
And for our listeners who are curious as to what I look like, very similar to this person, just more hair on the top of my head.
more hair and definitely not the droopy eyes. Your eyes are not droopy, but
Yeah, I don't have the droopy eyes.
But it passed through my hand. Either he was in my mind, or he really was.
So it wasn't a material object?
Yes, I tried to touch it.
I saw this moment, as he did several times with his hands, like this. It was as if he was groping for something in front of him.
Did that surprise you?
Actually, I was surprised.
I thought for a few minutes what kind of fire they needed. Then I decided that they really needed a fire or a source of fire. I turned and walked along the other side of the road, along the side of the truck. The field that was holding me back either moved away or disappeared. I no longer felt it. When I went to the truck, I took matches and a bottle, against icing, freezing. We carry alcohol with us. I took a bottle with alcohol. I closed the truck door and went back to the same place again. I collected the dry leaves that were lying on the roadside, doused them with alcohol, and set them on fire. I saw that there was a doorway in this spaceship. It had not been there before. The wall was smooth. And there's a light in the distance. There is no light on the object, but it is light inside. I noticed that something was moving in my direction through this doorway. In a nutshell, inside this spaceship. Then I was really afraid. I began to slowly back away.
Did you see
he does look scared, huh? I mean,
Oh yeah,
he, look- he looks really freaked out.
he looks like the Russian equivalent of scared.
Right? Yes. If they
Are we
can.
gonna watch this whole thing, because I'm kind of on board for it. I want to hear from
Alright.
his. I
Alright.
want to hear from his
Yeah,
point
cool.
of view. Yeah.
Let's do it.
a silhouette?
Yes, like a shadow coming over me.
Well, did he get out of the spaceship?
At the moment when I saw him, no. And when I slowly backed away, stumbled on the side of the road and almost fell, at that moment, when I looked up, this silhouette was already moving away from my fire. He was already walking along the corridor in this spaceship. Then I went slowly to the same place, not immediately, in 2 or 3 steps, and noticed that I no longer found the matchbox there. After standing for a little while, I think, what is it, I wonder? I need to get a closer look. Again, the letters lit up on the screen. I don't remember exactly now, but a positive answer was given. I decided that since I was in no danger, I would go and see what it was.
So wait, is it a language? He said it was positive. What does that mean? What, like a green light and a thumbs up? I mean,
Well, no. I think it's one of those things. Aliens. They're not speaking perfect. I was going to say English, then I realized they're
Right,
not speaking
right.
perfect Russian.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, right? You get
Oh yeah.
they give you
Okay.
the feeling that yes, it's okay,
It's okay. Move
to
ahead. Yeah.
to interact with us.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just like he said, when he felt like his time was up and his time to go. He just
Right,
felt it.
exactly. Yeah. They're not saying, "Hey, get the fuck out of here, bro." They're being like, "Okay, it's time to go." Like it's the same thing like when you're at dinner with friends and
Yeah.
they're not saying, "Hey, get out of here," but you have the feeling where okay,
Right,
it's
right.
time for us to go.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Perfect.
The ship stood on 3 legs. On 2 legs, and the 3rd leg was that he broke 3 large trees, 3 birches. This machine had no stairs, no lifting device, I did not see. And the threshold of this doorway was much higher.
How high was the doorway?
About 2 meters.
2 meters, yes. And what was the width?
About 1.5 meters, probably. I thought, how am I going to get there? From the hull of the spaceship, such a rod moved out. It first went horizontally to the ground, and then into the ground. It was like a railing. I took it and immediately found myself at the threshold of the doorway.
Once inside the mysterious object, Oleg first found himself in a wide, dark corridor, and then, after walking 7 to 8 meters, he found himself at the entrance to a spacious round hall. From it radiated corridors that led to other rooms of the spaceship. In one of the doorways stood a being, about 2 meters tall. It was shrouded in a dark haze, and it
Just for our audience that don't know, 2 meters. 2 meters is pretty tall. That's about 6'6", I think, or 6'7".
2 meters is 6 feet, right? A meter is
No,
about 3 feet.
no, it's 6. No, it's 6.6 2 meters.
Are you
6.6
sure?
feet. Yeah, because I know a guy that's 2 meters.
I'm looking this up right now because I don't.
Yeah,
I don't
a
believe you.
meter is 100 centimeters, right? 1 foot is 30 centimeters. So
I
3
don't know all that bibbly bobbledy European measurements. No, you're right.
Boggly.
2 meters is 6.5 feet tall. 6.6.
Oh,
you're right.
6.5. All right, 6.5. All right. But another blob. So bizarre, man.
You know, I'm torn on this.
Yeah, is it like
Because-
Russian propaganda?
No, not like that. No, I think these were probably one of the aliens that we all know about, but they were
Mhm.
shrouding themselves.
They were cloaking themselves.
Yeah, but I don't understand the purpose why, because we know about the Nordics, we know about the
Mm-hmm.
the reptilians, we know about the giant bugs.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I think this is one of them.
They probably didn't want to scare him, right?
Sure.
Or
they
something.
wanted to give him the tour without freaking him out. And maybe that's what it is, like they understood. They go like, every time we abduct aliens, every time we abduct humans and we show them
Mhm.
our true form, they freak out. So let's hide ourselves
Yeah, that
and
would
give
make
them
sense.
the full tour.
I mean, if they can put holographic images, right in front of them, yeah, they could project something in front of them that looks like just like a black blob.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this drawing that's on the screen, was that cover the guy, the newscaster? That they
I
have
think
on
it's
the
a
screen,
newscaster. Yeah, Yemiriv or something. The show.
was that covered in the article we just read?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
I missed that.
Yeah. I remember you reading it, and you said I love that show, or I was reading it.
Oh,
I-
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
its contours were gradually changing. Entering the hall, Oleg noticed the racks of devices located along the walls, and the control panel, which moved in a circle. Colored lights glowed on the dashboards, forming various geometric shapes. Then other 2-meter-tall beings appeared in the hall, also shrouded in a dark haze. What are these beings? Who are they? Where did they come from? Questions arose in the head. In response, the dome of the hall began to gradually
Pause real
fade,
quick.
and a picture of the starry sky
Did you say something?
Yeah. I just asked you to pause.
Yeah.
Don't those kind of remind you of hieroglyphics?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And for some reason, all alien languages look like that, right? They're symbols. Like not many of them use language like we do. Pretty bizarre. All right, I guess this. Yeah, so this is probably the part where he says he
Shit.
saw images in space. Are you back?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize I'd muted myself. Even Rendlesham Forest, the guys that had saw the UFO, they said the same
Mhm.
thing. There were hieroglyphs on the side.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot of memes about Egyptians being helped by aliens and stuff, but there is some sort of I don't know, common knowledge there. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
it's
and
weird.
even
It's
yeah.
weird that this kind of stuff pops up like all the time.
And even the Sumerians or like our ancient times, that's the language we used was picture language.
Yeah.
And maybe it helps make you more psychic that way if you think not in words but in pictures and images. It's a
Or
different way of
it's-
thinking.
Or it's even simpler than that, like for instance, have you seen like the guide to, if there's a guide online about how to talk to aliens, like if you ever get abducted. And
No, I don't think so.
it's basically just like math, and you explain that
Mhm.
you understand that you're from the third planet, but it's all pictures,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I'm wondering if this is, you know, something similar where the aliens go like, well, you know, we're not going to learn English or Russian or whatever.
Mhm.
They're not going to understand our language, so we're just going to do really rudimentary drawings you know, in place of language. You know,
So they can understand. Yeah, because it's more universal when it's a picture, I guess.
right,
It can be universal. You can figure it out.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that's what, you know, if
Yeah.
that's what this is.
Maybe.
Appeared on it. One of the stars began to grow larger and burn brighter than the others. Is this the star you came from? Oleg asked mentally. Yes, came the telepathic reply. Is it in our galaxy? Again, a positive response. There was no fear, and Oleg asked the question again.
I asked, is this a base ship or a landing module? They said it was a landing module. Then I asked the purpose of their expedition. They said it was scientific, but they were all transmitting it telepathically through this screen. And then I didn't even read the screen.
Have you already
were
understood
using
telepathically?
What?
They were using alien Siri.
Yeah. I mean, it is weird that all the stories that have come out in the past when it comes to UFOs and UFO encounters, that those experiences always end up in our high-tech industry, like, you know, decades after.
It is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. You know, and obviously maybe they're just, it gives them inspiration to do stuff like that. I mean,
Or, you know, an opportunity to reverse engineer whatever technology that the
Right.
government has. Yeah.
yep.
Yes, I even thought about it myself several times and didn't say anything. And I got the answer. I asked if they were from the same planet or star, and was told that they were from different planets. I also asked what more expeditions come here, good or bad, for what purpose they visit the Earth. They said there were more good ones.
Mhm.
I just wanted to give them my watch. I had a watch on my wrist. They refused and said that they had complete information about the Earth. Basically, they can have information about everyone because even when I took the rod when I entered this object, they called my body temperature. That is, one touch was enough. Apparently, the rod was both an elevator and a probe. I asked them, how is your ship moving? They told me they use electromagnetic fields to get thrust. I didn't ask what kind of thruster they had.
Even the whole electromagnetic thing, we have, you know, that whistleblower that came out last week that we'll see.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what he talked about, how the tic-tac works. So that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, either this guy is like a revolutionary in sci-fi novels and stuff, or he's, you know, whatever happened to him, he truly believes.
Right. I mean, Nikolai, you saw him next to him. He was just,
Yeah.
I mean, I want to hear from him. Hopefully he talks. Let's see what he says.
I asked what kind of opening it was on the wall, and then the interior of the same ship appeared in it. At first I thought that these were some kind of built-in cameras, and they were filming this hall. But then I noticed that I didn't see myself in the doorway. Then the picture changed, and a slightly different configuration of the hall was visible, but the beings were also the same in the hall. Actually, I could not understand what it is. The image is as three-dimensional, as if there are real beings behind this opening. And then the picture changed again, and our TV news program was shown. At first, there were 3 beings in the hall, then a fourth appeared, and between them, apparently, I will not call it a conversation, some kind of activity began to appear.
Communication?
Yes, between them. And I realized that something was brewing, and I was still afraid, not so much, but I began to be afraid that nothing would happen. I asked them, you probably need to, but I didn't ask them to fly away, to move somewhere. And I got a positive response. When we parted with them, I asked, could I tell other people what I had seen here? I also received a positive response. Can I see you again? They said, if you are in danger, we will find you within 15 minutes.
Oh, that's different from the article. The
Yeah.
article said 15 seconds.
15 seconds. Yep. Good catch.
Yeah.
Exactly. 15 minutes makes more sense.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, that's actually, that's life changing. 15 seconds to 15 minutes.
exactly. I mean, why would they choose him then? Too. I mean, I'm thinking
Well, I
there was
mean,
they had the conversations because more people were showing up. They're probably like, oh shit, there's a lot of people now.
No, but I mean,
notice the crowd.
this is the alien agenda. They don't take the president of the United States that we hear about.
Right.
They don't take the secretary general. They take random farmers out in the middle of nowhere. They take Russian truck drivers. I mean,
Truck drivers. Yeah.
this is their thing. Who knows what the actual alien agenda is? But they're not interested in the higher ups. They're interested in just randoms.
Good point. I mean, because the people trust them, right, more than we trust our politicians, and they know that. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
Quietly, I turned around and walked back to the exit. When I left the object, then turned around, and the doorway was no longer there. And I thought, I should go to the truck as soon as possible. If they leave now, something might happen to me. And again I received a mental answer that there is nothing wrong, that I could be near. And even as a precaution, I read this question from the mental screen. After that, this object, this middle part began to rotate, and the dome.
This part start rotating?
Yes, in one direction. And the dome slowly began to rotate in the other direction. The brighter it started to shine. Yes. At first, a single stripe passed from above with the articulation of the dome of this one. Then these nozzles merged into one hole. And such a spot of light was formed, and its color changed.
That is, the object was not so clearly visible?
Yes, it merged into such a spot of light. Then I heard a crack. It must have been leveling off. He was standing a little obliquely, as I said, leaning on a few trees. Then it swayed and rose silently.
So there was no noise? Like our rockets take off?
Absolutely nothing. No wind, no noise. After that, I noticed that there was another truck standing 100 to 120 meters away, and there was another passenger car behind it. The people who were there, 2 men and a woman, they immediately ran up to us after this object flew away. And they began to ask, what was it? What was it?
So they also sat in their cars and watched the whole event.
I think they even tried to get out of the cars, but they couldn't come up, because this field, which I couldn't overcome, I think, in the end, it didn't shrink, but expanded. And we ended up inside that field because those people couldn't get close to that spaceship. They asked what it was, but I had a very strong shock. Almost nothing could answer. The only thing that when they asked, is it a UFO? I said yes, probably.
I said yes, probably. Yes,
oh, man.
that is a UFO.
What a wild one.
It is a crazy one. Nikolai, where's Nikolai? He looks
He's just there for the ride. Just like he was in the truck.
I mean, he had a mic on him. I wish, maybe too bad. But I mean, if he wouldn't be there if it didn't happen, or if he thinks this guy's a liar.
I saw Oleg. He was doing interpretive dance in front of the truck, and
we were drunk off of vodka.
Going on.
We took 3 shots of vodka and went for a ride. Wait, it's Siberia, right? That has the crazy. That's
Oleg crashed the truck into a tree and then started doing interpretive dance with a polar bear.
Well, the Bigfoot thing didn't come up, which is good, I think, probably.
Yeah, no, that would completely ruin this story.
I mean, they do have Bigfoots in Russia. I mean, the
Yes, they
reported
do.
ones.
It's
So it's not
probably
like they
called
don't have them.
it's probably called like
Hairy man.
the hairy man. He come into the night. He drink. He beat my kids.
You got a good accent there.
It's not. It's really not that good. I apologize to anyone from Russia who's listening right now.
Well, this is a crazy case, right?
Very crazy case.
It has everything. Everything's in
It
there.
does. Yeah.
Except for the insectoids. I mean, there was no insectoids there, but they
Maybe.
could have been. They could have been.
Maybe they
And-
were under the shroud. Who knows?
But so he said there was one time he looked inside another door, he said, and down the corridor he saw another hallway with other beings there.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me at all. I mean, it's
Oh,
a
probably the
spaceship,
other
right?
ship. Yeah, probably another spaceship.
No. I just think he was only given the tour of the
Oh, the
main
main-
pathway. You know, like
Yeah,
of course there's other parts of the ship.
Keep him out of the bedrooms. You know, in
Yeah,
the kitchen.
they did not want me to meet their alien women for some reason.
So Wild Case, 1989. So that is before the fall of the Soviet Union,
Yes.
right? That was
Yes,
1990.
because this is a USSR alien abduction case. Well, it's not even an abduction.
Yeah.
You know,
Encounter.
alien UFO case encounter. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Very cool, and I'm glad you brought this. I had never heard of this case before, so I'm really happy to learn about it now.
Sweet. Well, hopefully it gets interest, and when people search for it, I'll try to put some terms in there because it's not called anything. What's it called? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
truck driver. Yeah,
I've
there's
never heard
no-
of this, so there is no name for it. It's
Even
the hairy man case.
Even the article is called "An Alien Detour." 2 Russian truck drivers sea landed spaceship. Yeah, so it hasn't been given a name, which is weird. Maybe
Very
we should
weird.
give it a name.
I just gave it a name, the hairy man case.
The hairy man. Why? Because he's got hair up here.
No, because he was asking about the Bigfoot, and the
Bigfoot,
Russian
yes,
Bigfoot name is
Yes.
hairy man.
All right.
No, the Soviet trucker case.
So I guess. I don't know.
Anyway, really cool story. I'm happy we're putting this on the show. This is a fun one. Obviously not a whole lot of proof, but we got some
No.
good eyewitness testimony, and the fact that the eyewitness, he's bringing up stuff that was not I mean, like the whole thing with the screen. I mean, he essentially had a UFO Siri, which is pretty damn cool.
That's
And
amazing. Yeah,
that
and
is way-
that read his mind as well.
Yeah, that is way before that was a thing.
Exactly. I mean, we had holograms,
Did
but
we?
not some. Yeah. I mean, not that you can put up in the air. No, not like the ones we have today. No, I mean they're very, very primitive in the 80s.
Rudimentary, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean now the stuff they can do with lasers, it's crazy. They're literally making pixels in the air because they
Yeah, I mean,
excite the particles.
I watched Tupac on stage at Coachella like 10 years ago.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. That was a hologram. Yeah. And now if you go to Universal Studios, they have holograms as well as part of the rides. You know, and they're right there. They're 3D and they're right there. It's amazing what they can do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could recreate this if they wanted to have fun with people.
Or Project Bluebeam. We don't have to get into that, but they're priming for it.
Yeah, I mean, apparently it was planned for that, and we've talked about it on the show as well. But that
Many
even
times.
that even gives people here individually like something that's coming from quote unquote God, and it's individualized to your religion or what they think your religion is, which they can do now if they know your web browsing, what you read, what you're into.
Oh.
They could individualize a message to you.
I was scared enough before recording this episode, and now I'm even more scared. So thank you, cuz.
You can always count on me for paranoia.
Thank you.
Yes, that's what I'm there for. So we have a new whistleblower
Nice.
from NASA. Kind of a
Never
whistleblower,
straight
I guess.
answer.
But he's former NASA chief of medicine. Breaks silence on a flying saucer he was shown with U.S. Air Force emblems on it.
Oh boy.
Dr. Gregory Roberts provides testimony that the U.S. has anti-gravity vehicles and has had them for quite a while. All right, we are in some interesting times, people. Really interesting times. Yeah.
Love it.
Smooth vehicle that appeared to be a flying saucer. It was constructed in the shape of a modified circular egg, being equal in length and shape from all sides, as I would learn as I watched the video. Its contour was totally smooth with no light, flight control surface, pitot tubes, propulsion systems, antennae, or other projections that might be seen on any typical aircraft or spacecraft. While it was generally spherical, it was about 20 feet in length, I would guess. It had a type of beam or equatorial region, with about 60% of the craft being above this region and 40% of the craft being below this region. A shallow dome could be seen at its apex. It was completely white with no seams, rivets, or other clues to its construction. The only exceptions were a pair of vertical and horizontal black rectangles that had been painted. And I assume these markings were to be used when evaluating a test vehicle, because I had seen them on some of the test aircraft. The three vertical rectangles were only on the upper section of the vehicle, located at what I would call the 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock positions. The four horizontal rectangles were along the beam or equatorial region, located at 12:30 to 2:30 position, 3:30 to 5:30 position, then from 6:30 to 8:30 position, then from 9:30 to 11:30 positions. Now, when I initially saw the vehicle, the camera angle was from somewhat above the vehicle, looking down on it from the 3 o'clock position. I only gained the rest of the information I just provided about the full range of rectangles only at the time that I witnessed it moving later on. I could partially make out information at the 12 o'clock position, but did not get a full view of it until it initially rotated in the clockwise direction. I am calling this the 12 o'clock position because that was the only section that had any sort of actual writing on it. As I saw it move, I was extremely surprised to see that just above the beam, it said U.S. Air Force. And just above that was the flight insignia for U.S. aircraft, which is a blue circle with a white star on it, with red and white bars extending to the left and right of the blue margins.
Man, the bastards have been exploring the solar system while we sit here and just fight over black and white and Jew and Muslim, and you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
they're out finding their new home, while we squander this beautiful planet that we call Earth.
Right, exactly, and try and kill each other and hate each other, instead of uniting.
Well, they've done a great job of planting seeds to grow, and the fruit blooms, and we eat it, and then we all hate each other.
Yep. I mean, when they talk about some of these things were gifts, weren't they gifting the wrong people? But I guess maybe they gifted the right people because they knew they'd actually figure it out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
right?
Yeah, or the elite have found a way to exploit a gift that was given to all of us, all of humanity.
Yeah,
they found a way to manipulate it so they can use it, and we all hate each other for it.
Yep, exactly. They get rich, they stay powerful.
Yeah,
right, exactly. And and climate change and all that stuff, and let's blame humans for everything. Dirty humans. All right, let's continue with this.
As I mentioned, there was a shallow blended dome to the apex of the vehicle, and here a pole extended straight up from the vertex of this dome. The pole was then attached to what appeared to be umbilical hoses that were twirled around each other, and these extended from above the vehicle and upward out of my sight. Alongside the vehicle, to the lower left of the screen, I initially saw two men who were in white lab coats. I presume these were engineers. To the right side, there were three technician type people walking around in full body suits similar to what I would refer to today as Tyvek suits. It was the comparison of the people to the craft that caused me to estimate that it was 20 feet in length. There was a warning sound that went off, and all of the people moved out of the way. While this was happening, I turned to the major to my left and asked, who would build a vehicle like that? He said he could not tell me. I then asked, why would we design a craft configured like that? His response was exactly what I'm going to show you right now. He went, we got it from them, pointing directly up, signaling in my interpretation that he was referring to space. All of a sudden, there were what appeared to be visual and auditory signs of electromagnetic discharges occurring around the vehicle. I will not describe this otherwise, because even though there were no indications of the craft being classified, the fact that it was a flying saucer made me immediately expect that this surely had to be a classified craft. As such, I do not wish to disclose any information that might indicate its method of operations, propulsion, or other characteristics that might still be used by it or by even more advanced craft within the current inventory of the United States. The craft rose from the concrete so smoothly that had I not been watching closely, I would not have recognized the motion. The picture you see is my poor attempt to show what it looked like. It then smoothly rotated one complete cycle going clockwise, then did the same rotation in the counterclockwise position. At the end of this, it was once more in the same position it had been in when it initially rose from the floor. It then moved to the right and left, then forward and backward, which I assumed was simply testing the controls for its motion.
Wait. What if, and this is just a what if there were actually alien language here and they just covered them up and just put a U.S. Air Force thing?
Yeah. They're just like, oh, this is ours now. Slap some duct tape on the side of that, boy.
Exactly. And it could be just, I don't know why they were showing him this. And I mean, obviously there was two major generals around him that were showing him this thing.
Or it's one of those things. This is, misinformation. I mean, maybe you're right.
Right. Yeah.
This is one of those things, like I not even a joke. Like, I think you're dead right, where they cover up the actual alien writing with duct tape or paint or whatever the fuck they're doing.
Right.
They
Yeah.
slap a U.S. Air Force tag on the side, and then they let this guy see, just so he can go and promote this, and so other countries going like, oh shit, they got UFOs over there.
Yeah, we're screwed. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, I'd love that we have these things, right? It'd be like, yes, we can have a utopia. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't, because who's in charge, but
right, exactly.
Right. We don't need more power.
Yeah, I'd much prefer, like, this is actual alien tech versus US tech.
Right. Yeah. I know what you mean, because we don't want these people having stuff like this.
No,
they're scary enough.
Yeah.
All right. And so we'll this is from a very long interview, and we'll just we'll put the interview for everyone that wants to watch the whole thing. But this is a good clip from it.
Testing the controls for its motion. All of these actions seem routine, noting that it was a flying saucer. However, what it did next surprised me greatly. The vehicle rose from the front of the craft, tilting to a 45-degree forward angle of attack, but absolutely maintained its stationary position over the floor from where it had risen.
Crazy.
I gave an exclamation about this, and the major commented that he thought this would blow me away. Just then, there were knocks on the door and voices asking why the door was locked. The major immediately turned off the computer console and screen, then looked at me very seriously. He whispered, "Don't tell anyone I showed this to you." He then unlocked the door and 3 officers came in. One was a lieutenant colonel, who again asked why the door had been shut and locked. The major stated that he had wanted to show me a skin lesion, so he had locked the door for the sake of his privacy.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because he's the chief doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking crazy, huh? I mean, I feel like they treat after just watching Severed, I feel like they treat government employees like they're severed. You know what I mean? When they're there, like, why is this door locked? What are you guys doing?
Yeah, seriously. No, it definitely feels that way. There's a lot of inspiration there, I think.
Yeah, it reminds me of like how probably these black programs are run in some
Yeah.
way, right? There's a lot of that. Ben
Well,
Stiller
it's
turned out
not
to be
even,
pretty cool.
you know, and it bleeds into the private field too. I mean,
Yeah.
if you listen to you know, people who've worked at Google or Facebook or any of those big tech companies, when you work down in the basement doing R&D, all the lights are off, you've got a helmet light, and you're working on whatever piece of tech they have in front of you, and you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed.
Whoa.
They check you in and out before you know, leave or enter, to make sure you're not bringing or leaving with any technology.
Holy shit, I didn't know that. But yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
they would be more serious about these things because to them it's billions of dollars, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So he got interviewed by the Daily Mail. This is just a quick clip.
This was a stinking flying saucer that I saw because this guy showed it to me.
You want to
This
start? There we go.
flying saucer that I saw because this guy showed it to me.
All right, what else?
This was a
I mean, there he is. Dr. Greg Rogers was chief of aerospace medicine for NASA and Air Force, and an Air Force major. He worked with astronauts on space shuttle missions in the 1990s. So apparently he was shown this in 1992.
Wow.
Yeah.
So clearly a guy who's bound to make stuff up for fame.
Right. He told me that another Air Force major showed him a video of a flying saucer in an aircraft hangar during a facility inspection at Cape Canaveral around May 1992. This is stuff coming out that George W. Bush actually wanted to do disclosure. He was asking, of course, Cheney didn't let him. And we had an episode about this before, that Cheney is the one at the top of the secrecy pyramid with this subject.
Actually, you know, I wonder if 9/11 was JFK 2.0.
Yeah. I mean, it happened only a couple months after Greer's disclosure project, because they were all in there testifying, and they said, we want to go to Congress, and they were going to have congressional hearings with those whistleblowers. And then 9/11 happened a couple months later, and boom, it was forgot about, and we've been in a police state since.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
and they probably used technology from that world to do what they did that day. You know, if you go around the whole dustified the buildings, Judy Wood thing. And here's the image. I mean, I don't know what this is. He was saying that maybe they were feeding it electricity.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Air Force insignia. Yeah. Hover 3 feet of. Didn't what's his name talk about something really similar? Seeing a UFO in Area 51 that was kind of the same thing, where it's floating 3 feet above the ground.
Yes, he did. And he said that when it wanted to take off, he said it would go by a 45-degree angle. You know?
Yeah.
Same thing. The gimbal does that. The Tic Tac does that, where they flip before they want to take off. They do this, whatever, 45 angle of attack, he called it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool case, man. He's calm. He's just like, you know, the
very cool.
Gesture to the sky, like where they got it from.
designed something like this. He said, we got it from them. At some point, I asked the guy, why on earth would we design something like this? He said, we got it from them.
Weird, dude. What a world to live in, to know that's your reality. I mean, come on, share that. I mean, it would unite everyone. You know, fine, the technology, you don't have to give it to everyone, but just this knowledge of that we're not alone and there's something else.
Oh, it's too much. Wouldn't you start writing if you heard about this? If you knew that this was the truth?
Yeah, I'll go start robbing every single store now.
Yeah.
Like they think morality would be just like gone out the window.
Thrown out the window, yeah.
Yeah, right. I mean, anyway, cool dude. Oh, astronauts, what the astronauts told him. So let's see this clip.
Near location to the spacecraft is not uncommon. that they've seen these things. Astronauts have discussed UAPs with me. When
Huh.
the space shuttle was up, even the International Space Station going to and from the moon, vehicles that were not part of the human space program, as far as we know, being in near location to the spacecraft is not uncommon.
I wonder why it doesn't happen to SpaceX, or maybe it does, but then because they're corporate, they shut up more. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it probably happens to them just as much, but yeah, I mean, they look at that thing,
That's the Avrocar, the Canadian one.
right?
Yeah, but it wasn't electromagnetic. They had fans. They had
Right.
turbojet fans,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. And they scrapped it. It does look ridiculous, huh?
Imagine being that guy in that thing. Yeah,
It's probably
okay,
weird.
there we're above the ground, I guess. There, see, and I'm gonna turn the fans on a little bit more.
I mean, why would they even design it like this? Because they're trying to copy something.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, of course, Green Street is laughing. What is he laughing at? Here's the witness's drawing of the flying saucer he claims he saw in an Air Force hangar in 1992. He added red arrows pointing to a potential clue as to how it miraculously hovered. Oh, Green Street, you're funny. He has me blocked on my personal account. I'm sure Slimeball Green Street is in here somewhere.
Yep.
Oh, let's listen to this clip just so we know who Green Street
Thing
is.
that you did, but you worked for the State Department. Yeah. And I love that. I was watching some of your videos last night. Just amazing. But I mean, you were in charge of creating video content and then watching
propaganda.
Okay.
I was making soft American propaganda and collecting taxpayers' money to do it.
Thing that you did.
Oh my God, he's laughing about it. There
you
are,
State
Green
Department.
Street. There, that's Green Street right there.
Dude, these people are so there's something about when you admit to a lie and you're laughing about it and because you can't get in trouble, like that's a true sociopath right there.
Oh, he is for sure, man. No, I that's why I used to troll him so much. I mean, he's one of the worst out there.
I mean, I barely use Twitter, but maybe I'm gonna start and just send him hate mail until I get
get blocked. Do it. It's fun. Just do it. Just make fun of him every single post he does, because he's just
what a piece of shit.
He is big time. What does he call it? He calls it space ghost. Like he's always making fun of Corbell and all those guys, but like heavily.
Mm-hmm.
So is Dr. Eric Davis. It's still crazy that we have Eric Davis in Congress, because he was so difficult. He was like, he was part of the lore. He was really, no one interviewed the guy. He was like a mystery. All of a sudden now he's in Congress and telling them about what he's found out during his lifetime working in these projects. It's just what a crazy timeline we're on. So here he is at the hearings, I think a couple of weeks ago.
My interface with the leadership at the industry, which were a number of individuals, is the following. The craft that have been recovered are not of this earth. They're not made by human hands. They are not from this planet. They are not human. They are an alien technology, whatever the word alien means. Are they extraterrestrial? We don't know. What motives do they have? Well, we need anthropologists and social psychologists and philosophers to figure that out, because they haven't communicated that to us. Yeah. So physicists like me and Avi, we can't answer questions like motive. We just need to take data. We call it measurements and signals intelligence in the intelligence industry.
So there's Eric Davis telling you that people in the industry, in aerospace industry, these contractors, they know that these crafts are not made by human hands, but they don't know if they're ETEs or where they're from, or apparently that's what he said. I'm sure maybe he's not clear to know that one. I'm pretty sure they figured out something. Someone.
Yeah.
has,
yeah.
right?
Seriously, someone along the way figured that out.
Yeah. There was also that whistleblower that came out on Reddit. About
we love Reddit.
Reddit brain. Usually you get what Reddit brain when you're there too long.
It's true. So this is from Reddit. This post is on X, but I'm assuming it got deleted on Reddit because Reddit is such
Probably.
a great website. The mods there, they do it for free, baby.
Oh yeah, they're really dedicated to the cause.
Yeah, and they will they'll delete and make things no matter whoever pays them, that's the right thing. Anyway,
Right.
this guy on Reddit says, I was a private contractor for various DoD agencies. I'm speaking now because this shit has gone too far off the deep end. I'll provide, in parentheses, some evidence. He's a whistleblower. I really did not want to write this. However, after careful discussion with colleagues, I am going to go with what my gut tells I should do. I cannot sit on the sidelines while I observe the UAP field / narrative get filled with half-truths and lies.
Obfuscation. Yeah, lies.
In this post, I will be providing evidence of documents that cannot be FOIA'd. I'll even give my perspective on anti-gravity and the overall landscape of the current UAP field when it comes to intelligence agents that are masquerading as truthers.
And who's he talking about?
I mean, there's so many.
Yeah.
What I speak on is based on my own experiences and observations from being in the field for almost 4 decades. I have a degree in electrical engineering. Sorry, I'm going to skim through this.
That's what I want to do. If I would go back to school, I would definitely do electrical engineering. Now, do I know calculus good enough to do that? I don't know, but it's a good skill to have.
Yeah, he's saying where he graduated from and what his knowledge is. If I gave away too much, considering not many were recruited from the college I graduated from, I was recruited shortly out of college to work in black ops, specifically on the electrical engineering, microelectronics, and pulsed power side. These black programs do not necessarily care about your academic credentials as much as they are about 2 things. Can you think outside of the box, and can you shut the fuck up about it? Where was my invite, Pentagon?
We obviously can't shut the fuck up about it.
Well, now,
yeah,
10 years ago, I would have happily done this kind of work and not said anything.
Interesting enough, when I started actually really publicly talking about that, not by name, but online and blogs and stuff like that, was when I felt the system was not treating me fairly. Does that make sense? Like if we didn't get investments, or investments fell by the wayside, you know, which was going to screw up my life. That's when I opened up the website, which was around 2009. So yeah. I would have shut the fuck up too.
And I didn't even open up a website. Come on, U.S. government, recruit me.
You're still young. They might. You never know.
I'm not young. I graduated college like 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago. Jesus
wow, cuz that's crazy.
So this guy says, I do not know everything, but the things I am sure of, I will write about here. Why am I doing this now? Because the government didn't hire me. Because I was given 8 months to live, and I will do whatever I can while alive. Excuse me. To try and make a positive impact in the community. I sometimes, I saw the word sleep, and I immediately started yawning. I sometimes cannot sleep seeing some of the blatant lies that are being fed to the community.
All right, good.
Let me put this bluntly before I get into the anti-gravity and tech.
Ooh.
Jay Stratton and Lou Elizondo are one of the reasons that various investors' zero-point energy devices have never seen the light of day.
That's crazy. Come on, Jay. I thought he was one of the good ones too.
They have been personally responsible for destroying careers, families, and the mental well-being of various physicists and engineers over many decades. Lou himself used to be a counter-intel agent for more than one USAP, waived unacknowledged special access program, and did not get involved in the subject by chance, in quotes.
Right.
He and Stratton were involved long before the whole ATIP ASOP saga.
Damn.
Lou is not a bad person at heart, but it makes you wonder why he has done what he's done in order to destroy others. I know many of you.
I mean, just because he always says that he's a patriot. He even said that he tortured people in not Abu Ghraib, in Guantanamo. He's saying because I'm a patriot. So he just does what he's told, and he's a loyal, like, attack dog, is what Lou is.
Yeah, and I mean that in and of itself brings up many questions about Lou Elizondo. So
Right.
who's telling him what to do now, right?
Right.
That's
Exactly.
that's the big question.
Yeah.
So this guy goes on to say, I know many of you may judge this statement and think that I am defending him, but there are many good things that he has done in this field as well that many people likely will never know about. With that said, he is definitely compromised in terms of putting USA national security above all else, and that is concern at this point. It is concern because the DoD has long been infiltrated with warmongers, we know that, and profiteering cranks, Israel, that want to keep all of this tech and knowledge silent for the sake of their own self-preservation. I gave him the benefit of the doubt at first, but this is getting to the point of blatant stupidity. To a very small extent, I don't blame them. However, to hide this from humanity is becoming more of a curse than anything else.
Agreed.
People have the right to know. Hell yeah. Jay Stratton, however, he's a real scummy person. Don't get me started on the shit that guy has done to some of my colleagues.
It really
I have
is
zero
surprising.
sympathy for that man.
Very
John
interesting.
Kirkpatrick is a pawn. We all know that.
Yep.
He lies through his teeth like Ron Pandolfi has and does. To add, please do not ask me about Jack Sarfati. Is it just all Italians?
Oh yeah, it's hilarious. You're right, Pandolfi and Sarfati. Yeah.
He is considered a laughingstock to those involved in various programs. Also, there are just over 2,000 legacy programs working on reverse engineering UAP. Hal Puthoff recently said on Joe Rogan that we have, quote unquote, more than 10 recovered craft in the USA. The number is in the hundreds at a minimum.
I believe that.
Jeremy Corbell is a useful idiot in many cases. We know. I think I say that every time we bring him we show some of his content on the show.
Yeah.
Some of what he releases is accurate, but when he says that us humans, in quotes, cannot replicate. Or understate, you screwed me up. Cannot replicate or understand any propulsion systems, end quote, that craft use or whatever nonsense he spews. It's a blatant lie. I doubt he actually knows the truth. To be fair, so I do not believe that he is deliberately lying.
All right.
Dave Grush.
Yeah.
Jake Barber, Mike Herrera are the real deal.
Agreed. So we're in tune with this guy.
Yeah. I respect them and their efforts. Let me say now, please do not ask me about Immaculate Constellation because I know nothing of any of those alleged specified programs. I am an electrical engineer, not a spy. However, being in this field, you pick up tradecraft methods and learn to run with the wolves, so to speak. Human beings, though both novel innovation and through reverse engineering, not mutually exclusive, have mastered anti-gravity to a certain degree.
All right.
When I say a certain degree, I mean operational craft that can leave our solar system.
Holy shit.
Wow. It sounds nuts, but it is the truth. Some have succeeded by means of pure human ingenuity, and others did it with access to recovered UAP materials. This level of mastery exceeds anything that even our most traditionally secret MIL programs have. Booz Allen, Honeywell, Lockheed Martin, Mitre Corp, Raytheon, Boeing, etc., all have their own versions of various anti-gravity technologies. There's a difference between gravitational shielding / repulsion and actually generating high-frequency gravitational waves. Do you want to take it? I've been reading for a long time.
Sure. Yeah. The pursuit of Thomas Townsend Brown is exactly where people should be looking. 0-point energy manipulation has to do with the EM vector potential. That is as far as I will go on that. I was involved in a project that utilized Tesla turbines, plasma toroid chambers, microwaves, crystals, extremely strong rotating magnets, and various other obtainable components that generated many kilowatts of gravitational waves, or gravitons, as some call it, in a private BAE lab. The total cost of the project was just under $3 million to build the gravity generator. It can and has been done time and time again successfully. Gravitational waves are measured electromagnetically due to it being a consequence of the curvature of space-time itself. Metamaterials are not needed to generate macroscopic proof of concept gravitational phenomenon, plain and simple. You will notice in some of the files I am showing that the Soviets coined a term called rotational gravitation and believed that rotating masses acted as emitters and receivers of gravitational waves. So just like the Russian thing where they have the counterclockwise and clockwise that are moving to create that, right? And then it lifted up. I believe that rotating masses. Yep. I am not going to argue with those in the comments that say that this isn't possible. And I am not going to argue with idiots that don't know how to think outside of the box. My question is this. If the Soviets thought it to be worthy of experimental investigation, then why is that not being done here? Oh, wait, it is. It is just going to stay forever classified. Forever. Oh, man, it's so... He's right. They're never going to let this out, man. Ever. Ask Jay Stratton why he prevented multiple inventors from getting their own laboratory. Because many of the inventors he suppressed focused on rotating capacitors, something the Soviets pursued very quickly. I'm sure his $1 million book deal helped smooth over all the people he royally fucked.
Yeah.
My beef is that we are classifying basic science that our adversaries are now discussing in more open forums and in peer-reviewed literature. It's bullshit. All for what? So that Lockheed can make science breakthroughs proprietary and own it?
Yes, exactly. Because corporations own the United States.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like they're deliberately destroying the country, but we know they hate the country. We know they hate it. You know, they want to make it in their own image. Maybe they want to have a technocracy is what they want.
No, they want to treat us like Palestine.
And yes, you hit the nail on the head.
You know, not to say who's on the other side of that conflict, but it's pretty obvious once you start to like take a step back and look at things.
Yeah, I mean, we look at all these.
Who owns all of the?
I was just going to say
news agencies. Yeah. Who owns all of the biggest companies? Who's in the back pocket of every congressperson in the United States?
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Once you've answered that, you figured out who's hiding this, right, and who's keeping it.
Yep.
But why would Jay Stratton and Louis Elizondo, like, why is that a national security issue? Why would keeping them in power and preserving them? Why is that the national security? Isn't the state the national security? Like, unless they're saying they're the state, and then we don't have a constitutional republic anymore, and it's not a government by the people and for the people.
It hasn't been. I'd argue it hasn't been a government for the people by the people for a long time now.
Yeah, definitely since '63. That was, I think, it. And then 9/11 probably just
enforced
capped it. Yeah.
You know what? I bet George W. He got pulled into a room and because he was about to start going against certain interests in the Middle East. And they go, oh, really? You're going to do that? All right. We'll see you tomorrow.
Watch this. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday morning comes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Because, I mean, if we remember, we voted, or George W. Bush, I was too young, man. I didn't vote for, but was I? I don't remember. But anyway, his platform was a humble foreign policy, no more nation building. He was actually shutting down bases, if you remember.
He was a non-war president. He did not want to be a war president. That was his whole thing.
Right. And then 9/11 happened. They scared the shit out of him in the White House. You know, I mean, there was apparently one going to the White House. Something was going to the White House.
And even though a bunch of Saudis were the ones flying the planes, we had really reset the country. Yeah.
And being directed from caves in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
That's some sci-fi shit right there.
It really is. Yeah.
The closest I have seen anyone in the public domain get close to describing how the technology works is Lieutenant Colonel Tom Bearden. Cool. He was on the Disclosure Project and a few others. The tough part of all this is taking the theory and applying it to a practical experiment. Not many can bridge that divide, but a small, genius chunk of engineers and some theoretical physicists have. You want to know who a real high-level gatekeeper of this stuff is? Admiral Mike McConnell. He currently works at Booz Allen, or at least that was the last I heard of his whereabouts. Yeah, so this guy was also very close to Cheney, so that makes sense.
Yep, totally.
I realize how that being given limited time on this planet makes you think about what should really matter. I want the next generation to have a chance. P.S. The Tic Tac is ours. I've worked on certain aspects of it personally. Oh,
that's a real big P.S.
It is. And here are the images. Tic Tac Mach number 16th scale, air temperature, showing the air temperature around it, how it moves.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Studies. I guess, and this is Jay Stratton, right? He was ahead of this, wasn't he? No, this is something else. But yeah, he was OSAP, and there it is, rotational gravitation.
Mm-hmm. Right now.
So, dude, we have all this stuff,
and the people will never see it. Just unbelievable, man.
We're not worthy enough. This is the Reddit post. So where are the?
Oh, it stayed up.
Look at that. Yeah, you'd think they'd get this down. They usually do. Whoa, what's this? Oh, that's a sphere. Electric field contour and VM, whatever, 10-meter metallic sphere with a 1-meter dielectric coating.
Oh, wow.
This stuff they're working on, man.
Yeah. Just
underground
wild stuff, man.
Yeah. We just need to get it out of their hands and give it to the people.
Oh man, fat chance. If you guys thought Trump was going to do that for you, boy, do I have a bridge to sell you.
Well, what are these emails? This is from Classification Unclassified. Mr. Lakatsky. The Bigelow facility has been assigned. Okay, Skiff. Well, he's giving the receipts, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, at least we're making progress here.
Here's what DeepSeek and ChatGPT said. Why does everyone do that? Like everyone's asking like AI now. What do you think about this? What do you think about this?
I think it's a complete waste of time. Anyone who's done a Google search recently can tell you that the AI is not quite there yet.
Right? No, it's not. It's getting there. It is impressive. You know, let me say that it's impressive, but it's not there to take over society.
Yeah, not quite.
And then I think this is what, because of that news, this is what inspired Jay to write this. Jay Anderson at Project Unity. He said, "You want to read this one?"
Yeah. I have been sitting on something for a long time, best part of 3 years, because I don't have permission to share the recording or reveal the person's identity, but for what it's worth, I have heard direct testimony from an aerospace engineer for a tier 1 defense contractor stating that they are capable of designing and building vehicles that can go over 100 times the speed of light. That we have been exploring the solar system and beyond it for many years. They refuse to go public for 2 reasons. 1, a sense of loyalty and appreciation towards their employers who believe they are working quietly towards the benefit of the global population. And then in parentheses, he says, I have my doubts on that. And 2, he says, a genuine fear of serious reprisals. Man, I'm torn on this.
And then he says, take it or leave it. This field is full of smoke and mirrors. Trust nothing.
Yeah, man. We were so excited to get to the moon, right? Remember Nixon? Yeah. He had that whole speech and we were televising it. I have a hard time believing if we were zooming around the solar system that the U.S. government wouldn't be boasting about it. Unless there's something really big out there that would scare everyone, then I guess I'm back to square one on this.
Yeah, I mean, and there's the McCandlish story, right? In the 80s of in the air show showing those UFOs built by us, and that they were actually like they weren't pristine because they were traversing the solar system.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the 80s. So there's that story. Now, I mean, he said beyond the solar system, so
That and that's honestly 100% or sorry 100 times the speed of light. So Einstein said nothing. He said what's his exact?
Yeah. Well, he said that nothing can go faster than light, but people have shown experiments where you can do that, in the laboratory. So it's not exact, his theories, especially on that, are not. I mean, he himself even did wormholes, which go faster than light.
Well, wormhole is just you're bending space and time. That makes more sense, but.
And I think that's what they're doing then, because
but then it's not accurate to say 100 times faster than the speed of light, because that's not what you're doing when you're bending.
Yeah.
When you're creating a wormhole to go from one place to another, you're not going faster than the speed of light. You're just bending space and time to go through a hole to get to someplace different.
And I think that's why this came out. This guy was on Rogan a couple days ago, or yesterday? No, a couple days ago. And he's a NASA engineer, and he works with DARPA, and they are doing stuff with DARPA that they can't do it now, but what they've figured out, he's saying, projecting maybe in 10 years, we will be able to have a space warp to warp space. So really, really cool experimentations that they're doing.
Quantum vacuum works with it. But I think there's also some other things that we can try, right? And so that goes, I think you've seen some of our work that we've been doing, right, with some nanostructured devices that we've been doing some work for DARPA for a number of years, where we're actually trying to work on some systems that generate power. And so in the process of doing that, we've actually found that our nanotechnology may actually have some intersections with the idea of a space warp. So I think it's
when you're saying that, like, our nanotechnology might be used to create some sort of a space warp. In what way?
Right. Jamie, can you pull up one of those slides close to the not that one. Go back. Keep going back a little bit more. Keep going up. Go right there. Right there. So there's on the left-hand side of this image, there is a scanning electron microscope image of a nanostructure that in this case, we 3D printed, and then we metallized it. And so the work that we were doing for DARPA associated with that structure is focused on trying to harvest energy from the quantum field. And so we've been working towards trying to generate a voltage potential on that little structure where the pillars in the middle are at a different voltage from the walls that are in the picture there. And in the process of doing the analysis to help us understand how thin do we need to make those rod-like structures you see inside the cavity gap. When we study how the quantum field responds to those structures, we noticed a kind of an unanticipated intersection with the idea of a space warp. If you look at, there's like in the picture, there's like a little blue surface overlaid on top of the center pillar there, and you've got those two little regions that are like yellow. I think Jamie just moved his mouse over those, right? So that's the pillar, and if you move up, that blue surface shows the quantum field's response. So that negative vacuum energy density distribution you hear me talking about, that is like a section cut in terms of what that looks like. And so we're trying to make sure that the nature of that distribution allows us to see a voltage difference, right? Which we do see, but that now we can go to the middle pane here. The top picture there is that image on the bottom left. And so you see those little yellow, kind of looks like a lenticular shape. And then if you look at the picture beneath that, that is a section cut of a space warp, that ring that goes around the spaceship. So if you look at the distribution of the exotic matter on the bottom pane versus the distribution of negative vacuum energy density in the top, they're qualitatively very similar to one another. So we, as part of an extra credit, right, we're still, DARPA doesn't care about the idea of a space warp, to be clear. They don't care about that. But this, as scientists, we were interested in, wow, we didn't expect to see this. This is interesting. And so we took that insight and we said, all right, the distribution that's on the left around that center pillar, it's prismatic, right? It's a straight up and down kind of distribution. It's not a ring, which is what we might think about when we think about a space warp. So we said, all right, well, let's do a slightly different model. Let's make a sphere inside a cylinder And then let's study how the quantum field responds to that structure. And so the energy density distribution to that, the little green items there in the cartoon, the energy density distribution for that properly matches the requirements for the idea of a space warp. And so we published a paper. Yeah, this is significant, right? Because before we did that, the only thing we could talk about in the literature was just the math, right? If somebody said, well, what might you build to make something like that? All we could do is just shrug our shoulders and go, oh, right. And so this allowed us to go through and say, hey, now we can propose a real structure, right? That we can potentially, and you can 3D print that. There are 3D printers that print down to that level, right? We could 3D print those structures. Maybe some clever scientist will come up with a good experiment on how to go through and maybe study the optical properties of this. And somebody could do something like that, where they could take our insights that we published in our paper, and then they could go 3D print some stuff and do some experiments to show that they can, hey, we've measured the change in optical properties associated with these little tiny warp bubbles that we're making on a chip, if you will. And so maybe that could be something a future scientist could do. But this is the first time in the literature that we can actually say, as a community, this is a real thing that we could go make, and it's predicted to manifest a real warp bubble. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to do anything, but still, that's significant as a measure of a paradigm shift in our understanding. So it's
nuts. So there's definitely movement going on, right? But I mean, when you talk about his movement, though, it's really slow, because he's talking about something that could be done 10, 20 years from now. Not saying, but he was asked in this interview, Rogan asked him, is it possible that there are black projects that hidden from the public and that we're working? He goes, yeah, of course it's possible. Yeah. He's not read in, though, apparently.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it. I mean, otherwise he wouldn't be talking about 10, 20 years away. He'd be talking about tomorrow.
Exactly. What about that? Have you seen that UFO sphere that crashed in Boga, Colombia?
Yes. Yeah, I have. I kind of think it's a hoax.
Yeah, and I think so too. Just because of this, like, it's not perfect, right? What it's made out of.
Right. And South America, unfortunately, it's riddled with UFO hoaxes. There's some good stuff that comes out of there, but stuff like this,
he's known to push hoaxes too.
And I'm questioning even what's the 3-fingered alien, like the ones that they found in Argentina. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh.
The white plasters. We've covered it on the show before.
Yeah, the Nazca mummies.
Yeah, I'm starting to question those as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it. I'm watching this guy. I mean, there's no sound, but I'm watching him rotate the metallic sphere.
Okay, good. All right, good. Because no, we're back. All right. Yeah, and even when people looked at these engravings, they're not perfect.
Yeah, they're
not. Now there are some anomalies. They said they couldn't find any welds. There it is, flying. Apparently,
yeah.
It fell to Earth, and they captured it. But they've done X-rays on it as well.
Yes, they have. And
so there it is.
A post I saw on Reddit, one of the designs on one side of it aligns with one of, some of the stars, stuff like that. So I do think this is fake. But
so what's the technology they're using? I mean, definitely. I mean, if we have anti-gravity, they could be doing this as a.
I don't think it's that complicated. They have the thing on a string and a big.
Oh, you think it's just that? Okay.
I don't think it's super complicated.
Because didn't they say also that when they first caught it, it was only in 2 kilograms, and then as they kept it, it became 10 kilograms. Like, it's become heavy.
Yeah, I just don't buy it. But I don't think it's as sophisticated as they're using anti-gravity. I just think it's a well done hoax. Someone figured out how to.
Yeah,
it might even, like the video shows, like it might even be a balloon, and then when they pick it up, they go, "Oh, look, it's metal sphere." You know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, it is definitely an elaborate one. If it is a hoax, because look at the X-rays on the inside; it's very strange, and they can't. I don't know how they're going to get into it.
Well, you take a buzzsaw with a metal blade on it, and you just slice right through it.
Well, I don't think it's going to work on this one.
Well, I think it will.
Then yeah, they should definitely do it.
I think if this was a true alien artifact, we would never have our hands on it.
Right, the government will come and grabbed it.
No.
I just confiscated it.
I just don't think it would have ever crashed. If it was a true alien artifact, it would have never landed on the ground.
Weird case.
Yeah.
And Hamey, I guess his name, Masong, he's the Mexican UFO guy. AARO finally gave us an anomalous video without trying to debunk it.
AARO is even still around at this point.
They're trying to fix. They're trying to fix their image and their name, especially after the Immaculate Constellation guy came out and said he didn't even go to them. That's how bad they are.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, they released a video out of Iraq and just said it's truly anomalous. We don't know what it is what they said. There it is.
Yeah, actually, Middle Eastern UFOs really fascinate me.
Yeah, and I saw these kind of orbs when I was a contractor there. So they're definitely around there. And, it might be because our presence there as well. Which attracts
Yeah, I
them.
mean, we've covered on this show, how many UFOs have been seen, between Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah,
these things really do seem to like conflict. I think, and based on our nuclear hypothesis, they're just checking to make sure no one's launching nukes at each other.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what they basically care about. And if they maybe see humans as a resource or food, a war zone's perfect for that.
That being said, Pakistan and India got into a skirmish this week.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't become a nuclear.
Well, no,
thing.
they agreed to a ceasefire. So,
thank God. Okay. Good.
So, chalk one up to the nothing ever happens crowd.
Nice. That's really good news. I didn't know,
news, but I haven't seen any UFO news coming out of there. So, but maybe in the coming weeks we'll find something.
Maybe. So, and we know this is an official government video because they are blocking out all the telemetry. Yeah, all the telemetry is blocked out. But that thing is moving fast. There's no plumes. They don't know what kind of propulsion it's using to do what it's doing. It's not a balloon. They would have said it's a balloon. Trust me.
Yeah, that's a balloon moving 500 miles per hour. You know how balloons do that?
Did you see how they blocked something here that showed up?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
what the hell?
Assuming that's distance.
Maybe, huh? Look at that thing. Ooh, look at that. It's a saucer. It's got like a dome on top. Zoomy, zoom.
Very cool.
Yeah, finally, AARO. Thank you. Now our tax dollars don't feel like they're wasted.
Yeah, they still feel like they're wasted.
We could get a job there.
Maybe that's why I start looking for a new job, working for the IRS.
The IRS. Hey, you'll have your own weapon.
I don't think they'd ever hire me, knowing my background.
Yeah, there's to do a background check on the books you buy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Now, I don't. Yes, this is good to see that people are digging into Stephen Greer, and it is really weird.
Not a trustworthy fella, in my opinion.
This is so the Baha'i faith, which I don't know if you knew this, but our grandfather knew the founder's son of Baha'i.
I did not know that.
Yeah, he did.
Very
So the Baha'i faith, I guess it's kind of, they believe in the Quran, but then it's an extent, it's a universal religion. So it brings in other things. So it's not Muslim or anything, but they believe in the Quran, but they have different, I guess. I don't know, but lots of people say that it's an intel thing, intelligence thing, like a Mossad thing.
Yeah, that tracks.
So this is on Danny Jones. I don't know this guy. He is a Debbie Downer, but let's listen to what he has to say.
I can't hear anything.
You can't hear anything?
No, I can't hear anything.
I can. So okay, so something's happening with the studio.
Yeah,
but it'll come through.
You think so?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Okay.
Actually, it'll be hard to know unless we hear the recording. We won't know.
Well, that's why I was asking. That's why
we won't know. We won't know. When we did the intro, you heard it, but I couldn't hear it, right?
Right.
Yeah, something's weird's going on. I don't know. All right, hopefully, fingers crossed, this comes through.
Listen,
if not, we are
listen,
sorry.
folks at home who are listening. You can watch this interview and everything else we have linked. It's in the show notes.
Yes, exactly. He hasn't produced anything of actual worth. He said that's really fucked up to say. I think. Okay.
So
yeah, there's some problems with Greer.
So
but-
you're reacting to stuff in the video. I can't hear it. So
no, I know, but I'm going to say anyway. I'm going to act like it is working. You know what I mean? But
it's just,
yeah,
it's just funny because I'm watching these two people on screen just going bap, 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 bap. I can't hear anything, and then
Hey,
you
let's
come
try
in
this.
and go,
Let's try
well, yeah, that's really sad. And I'm just like, yeah.
I'm going to try this. I'm going to remove it. Okay. You know, just like everything in electronics, just reset.
Yeah.
So let's reset. Let's do this. And then let's share this. And then hopefully you let me know.
It may not be
There
something.
we go.
Can you hear that?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So I'm going to rewind it.
Yeah. Some of the stuff Greer says is so crazy, and he's like a guy who he's really easy to dismiss.
I've got that printout papers there for you.
Which ones?
It should be below the Rainstone stuff.
These.
Yeah, if you want to pull that up.
But like, I mean, he's been on this stuff for so long.
He has, and he's never produced anything of actual worth. There you go. There's a good one. I thought you might appreciate that.
Yeah, see, I was reacting to that. He has not produced anything of actual worth. I mean, that's kind of really messed up to say about Greer, in my opinion. You know,
I mean, sure.
I mean, to say of actual worth, I mean, this whole disclosure project was fine. Is that the only thing is good for us? Maybe. I don't know. But
No, I think Greer is coasting on a lot of stuff he did like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
he puts himself in the limelight as much as possible, calling himself the what's he say about himself? The foremost leader in UFO knowledge, stuff
in
like
history,
that.
in history or something.
Yeah, I mean that so I can understand the frustrating.
He has
wait,
good documentaries. Though. In the Lost Century is a great documentary.
I love this guy's shirt says make conspiracies great again. Hell yeah, brother.
All right, so he dug this up on Greer, which is good on him.
This is really interesting, by the way.
Yeah.
May not be something you want to put.
Emily and Stephen Greer, Haifa, Israel. Emily Kramer and Stephen Greer were married Saturday at Baha'i World Center. The bride is the daughter of Miss Douglas Kramer of Palm Beach, Florida, and the late Dr. Cromler. She graduated from the University of Pennsylvania and received a master's degree in occupational therapy from Boston University. She was employed by the Peace Corps in Barbados. The bridegroom is the son of Mr. and Mrs. James Greer of 1201 Princeton Avenue. He attended the Appalachian State University and is employed in the Information Processing Department at Baha'i World Center. After a trip through Israel, the couple will live in Haifa and work at the Baha'i World Center.
Yeah, that's the original marriage notice. Baha'i was regarded as an intelligence gathering operation for Mossad.
And Stephen Greer worked for these people.
And he worked for them. He started with those people. Then he got
This is
funded by
before he was an emergency room doctor.
You know, I've done a lot of research on Stephen Greer. I don't want to make any claims that get me in any kind of trouble about Stephen Greer, but it doesn't look to me like he had enough time to even do medical school and a residency. And certainly the old newspaper articles don't refer to him as Dr. Greer. It's like he goes right into UFO stuff. So if he worked, there's indication he worked for a very short time at a small hospital in Western North Carolina, and then went directly into shilling UFOs for Rockefeller.
Holy shit.
Now, if you go to the next page, that's one you might not want to. Don't say
Rights.
it out loud. No, you don't want to say it.
Why can't I say it?
Well, okay.
Rights,
it's your podcast, man.
Rights of homosexuals, opposite opinions, the National AIDS Hysteria Awareness Test. Okay. We thank you for publishing Associated Press coverage of the October 11th March on Washington for gay and lesbian civil rights. However, as part of our 75 marchers from Asheville, we would like to correct the important inaccuracy. Okay, so what is this about?
So that's an op-ed piece that Stephen Greer wrote about himself, and you can see the highlighted portions there.
Okay. Oh, the highlighted portions. We feel that the struggle for our civil rights as gay and lesbian citizens is intricately linked to all struggles against racism, sexism, and anti-Semitism in the country and worldwide. We have fought and died for this country. We are its doctors. Signed by Dr. Stephen M. Greer, MD of Asheville.
Now,
so he's saying ours. I mean, I always thought he was gay a little bit, actually, just the way his demeanors are, But then they said that he's married, so I'm like, oh, all right, maybe he's not. But then with this coming out,
no, it's not. Honestly, I don't think this is a gay, not gay thing. I think, and as this interview wraps up, this guy, I can't remember his name. He wraps up pretty succinctly. He just says Stephen Greer is
it's not unknown, yeah.
He's a very good spokesperson for whatever cause he's told to be a part of.
You put him there and he'll do the marketing for it or represent it well.
Yeah. Actually,
let's continue.
Yeah.
I have absolutely nothing against homosexual rights, anything like that. I completely agree with the premise.
Yeah.
But if someone's living a double life and doesn't bring that out and own that in this world, and you want to be believed about briefing the CIA and the president and all these people on UFOs, that's a little, his early life doesn't add up to me. Yeah. Look at the date on that versus the marriage.
He's not Jewish, is he?
Yeah, he is.
It maybe.
Yeah, he is. It's funny that Danny didn't know that. Yeah, he definitely is.
Well, yeah, what's the date? Where's the date? Oh, October 16th, 1987.
And when's the marriage?
The marriage was...
I think you put it down.
The marriage was August 30th, 1979. Wow.
So what's his story? It doesn't add up if you go through old newspaper archives. That's all I can say. I don't want to editorialize it or give my opinion about, but he has never presented anything that worked out. The little Atacama alien, the any of that. He has been saying the same shit for decades and being given a platform, almost like a behavioral conditioning program.
Every one of his podcasts does millions of views too.
Is it organic? One thing I've noticed with social media,
it might be, but it might. Yeah,
a lot of bots. A lot of bots. A lot of media companies that will push you and make you look like you're bigger than you are, but it's hollow engagement.
Well, take it Adam, like you will.
Adam, you're the internet guy. Where are our bots? Why haven't you purchased millions of bots to follow us and push us to get us to the top of the algorithm?
Because it's not real. It's not real engagement.
I don't care. I want those bots.
You want those numbers. I mean, yeah, you can purchase them. But if you get caught, then that's it. It's hard to come back from that.
Listen, I got a $50 gift card to Amazon recently from work. I can buy some bots. I'll buy some bots.
Okay. We can try it out. But yeah, you can get like 1,000 views.
So really quick, I just want to give a quick chant. USA. 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 We finally have an American Pope, folks, and it's not Donald Trump.
That is crazy that did he know something? Because apparently Bannon also predicted that it was going to be this Pope. So did they know something? But it's nuts that now we have the political head of the world, and now we have the religious head of the world.
Well, we is a really
I mean the country, the people, the people, the American people.
I do think it's really funny. JD Vance shows up to the old Pope a couple days before he dies, and then we have an American Pope. I mean, that obviously raises some eyebrows, but I think this is the first American Pope.
Yeah. And he's taking the Leo, right? So he's Pope Leo.
Yeah.
Here it is. What is that? 14th?
X14. Yeah, 14th.
So Pope Leo 14th, he is now Pope. I think they did it pretty quickly too, right?
Well, so I've heard this statement from several people in real life and online. This is actually not, I mean, it's quick, yes, but
Yeah.
every Pope election has been quick since like the 80s.
Oh, all right, cool. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
I thought
So
that.
it's the quickness is not weird. It's just it's standard at this point because popes don't have to write down on a piece of paper and transport it on a mule that gets carried by a pigeon to the Vatican.
Yeah,
it's all very it's all very standard now.
And of course, people are now, at least in our community, are trying to bring it back to UFO. So this is Dr. Disclosure. He's saying, Disclosure Pope? This is real. A sci-fi short story published 20 years ago featured a fictional pope named Leo the 14th, exactly the name of the new pope. In the story, a UFO arrives. The pope weeps and then says, quote, that thing out there looks like a craft from another world because it is a craft from another world. And it has come to the pope's kingdom because it is the kingdom of the pope. Coincidence or prophecy?
Well, how does the book end?
Oh, I don't know. We're gonna have to look that up.
Because that's, I don't know. I mean, that doesn't seem so bad.
No, it doesn't.
You know?
Yeah. Should I click on this and see what it takes us
Nah,
to?
we're
yeah.
over 2 hours now, so we gotta get through these.
All right, Disclosure Pope. Here's Danny Sheehan. Of course, he is a Jesuit. Well, he represented the Jesuits in DC, so he's not a joke.
And he's got beautiful hair.
He has white locks of hair.
Whitey locks.
Here we go.
Do you think that this new pope will actually help UFO enthusiasts and others gain access to whatever secrets lie beneath the Vatican?
No.
So yes, I believe that he has a history, as did Leo the 13th, that preceded him. Actually, in trying to establish the relationship between the cutting edge of science and the most profound fundamental theological concepts of a metaphysical dimension that is not accessible by most people. That's the key to this man. He is a person who wants to bring together science and theology to be able to bring the Catholic Church into the 21st century, so we can begin to adjust the institutions of our planet to cope with the reality that there's an extraterrestrial, non-human civilization that surrounds us, and the fact that they've been coming and going from our planet at least since the detonation of the first nuclear explosion in 1945. So I think that he is going to be the disclosure pope. The church has a fundamental responsibility to be the ushers in of a perception of our relationship to the universe, in our human consciousness, to the evolution of our species. So I believe that the church is going to play a major role in doing this, and they've issued a statement back in November of 2009 stating that in light of the fact that we've now got these new spaceborne telescopes and they're discovering more and more of these new exoplanets, it's now clear, as they said, that much sooner than we had previously anticipated, we're going to discover that life exists elsewhere in the universe. And therefore, the time has arrived for the beginning of that all-important conversation about the profound philosophical and theological questions that are posed to our human family by the discovery of life elsewhere in the universe. That's the moment that we have reached now, and this will be the Pope who governs the largest single denomination on our planet of 1.4 billion people, to usher in this larger reality and integrate it with our sense of ourselves in the universe.
Yeah, I hope so. That'll be great. If the Catholic Church takes the lead on this.
It'd be sweet. I just
it'd be timely.
don't see it happening.
I know.
Unfortunately.
We have to.
The church has too many things to hide.
Yeah, and what do you think about the whole Black Pope conspiracy thing? Like you have the White Pope and the Black Pope, like a secret Pope that the Jesuits have. There's books about that I've read.
I mean, the Catholic Church is rife it's full of secrets. So I don't think it's completely unfounded, but at the same time, I don't know. Like I think about the last Pope. What did the quote unquote Black Pope? What did he do?
Which one? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a secret Pope.
Right, I know.
Yeah,
but
what does
that's
he do? Who knows? Yeah, I don't
right.
know.
That's what I'm saying. What secret agenda did the
Yeah.
secret Black Pope enact? I mean,
I
as
mean,
far
maybe he communicate with other, I don't know, with other beings with, or other dimensions. I have no idea why they would even need one unless it's something like the occult, like that.
yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I wouldn't see
I
another
just
reason for it.
I think it's less of a secret under Pope and more of a there's a lot of people in the Catholic Church who have their own agendas, and it's not like headed. It's not centered on one person. It's just a bunch of people in the Catholic Church who have power who do things. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
right. Yeah, yeah, like their own deep state.
Yeah.
Now I figured out what this was because on my phone I couldn't figure it out, but when I used the browser, I'm like, oh, whoa, this is crazy,
Dude, this is weird, and this is
Yeah.
unfortunately I feel like going to become the norm. So I sent this article to you. It's AI of dead Arizona road rage victim addresses killer in court. So this guy was killed in a road rage accident, and his
Mhm.
family used AI to bring him back to life to address the killer in court. And if I remember correctly, the family has forgiven him, the guy who committed the murder.
All right. I mean, it's pretty strange to do that though. So I don't know how they did it. It's not really it doesn't say how in the article.
No, I think it
Or,
said at the very top.
or
I
who
think it
or
said
who.
the guy shot him. Scroll
No,
down.
I meant like the video. Like, I mean, sorry, like how they trained the AI.
Oh, yeah. I have no idea. Yeah. Chris
That is
Pelkey
bad.
was killed in a road rage shooting in Chandler, Arizona in 2021. 3.5 years later, Pelkey appeared in an Arizona court to address his killer, sort of.
Yeah. You want to listen to it?
Kind
It
of.
is weird. So it looks like they did feed the AI like videos of him being interviewed and like posts he's done online to gather like his personality or what he would say to the killer and to the court.
Yeah.
So it is bizarre. I don't know if I would want to see that, of someone that I lost. I don't know. Maybe you want to see anything of them that's new.
I don't know.
That right?
When I go, I go. I don't really care about what happens after that. You know what I mean? Not in a
Yeah.
selfish way, but like I don't want my family to be using my image to address my killer in court. That's bizarre.
It is weird.
I want to see how accurate it is though. Let's watch this just for a little
to
bit.
make my own impact statement. So, hello everybody. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for being here today.
Weird.
It means a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how humbled I am for those that spoke up for me, everyone who flew in, took off work, those who are watching this remotely, and for everyone who has supported my family and loved ones through 3.5 years and 2 trials. I wish I could be with you all today. To your honor, Judge Lang, thank you for making yourself available to see this case to the end, especially when the rescheduled trial conflicted with your daughter's spring break.
No,
thank you for listening to everyone.
Too weird. Too weird.
Yeah, he even talks to the killer, right? And he forgives him or
Yeah,
something.
but I mean, the beard doesn't move, so it's really
Yeah.
obvious it's an AI. The
Right.
fact that he's addressing the judge and talking about the judge's daughters, whatever. Obviously, the victim's family put that in the
Right. Yeah, to kiss his ass.
right. But I mean, man, that's too weird. I'd be really freaked out.
The judge gave the guy 10 years.
Yeah,
for what he
well,
did.
I mean, he shot the guy, so
Right.
he
Yeah.
deserves 10 years or more.
Yeah, for road rage, you shoot someone because of the fucking road. What is
Yeah,
wrong with people, man?
I'll never forget that one time in college when I was in line to get food, and someone cut in front of me, and so I stabbed them in the neck with a knife because I was so mad. You know what
He
I mean?
deserved it. He
Yeah,
totally deserved it.
totally deserved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like, man, whatever. This is weird though. The whole situation is weird.
It is weird. All right, we can move on to
Yeah, please.
troubles in the White House regarding Israel.
Now this
What is going on? Now,
this
this
very interesting.
Yeah, and it could be all theater. There's a lot going on, but it turns out it's not because it's still happening today. So this is from Jackson Hinkle.
Breaking. Israeli Army radio reports that President Trump has decided to cut contact with Netanyahu, stating that Netanyahu and his associates act arrogant and try to push around the president, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Close associates of Trump told Israeli Minister of Strategic Affairs Ron Dermer that the president feels disrespected and manipulated by Netanyahu, and that there's nothing he hates more than appearing as easily manipulated in public.
All right. I mean, I love that. Yes. Don't fuck around with us. If it was anyone else like Kamala or Biden, they'll just take it. They'll just take it.
But I mean, you know, Israel has been doing this for how many decades now?
I mean, yeah. Easily from the 60s. I mean, AIPAC. I mean, RFK and JFK wanted to make AIPAC into a foreign, not a foreign agent. What was that called? Register under FARA, which is the Foreign Agent Registry Act, right?
As they should.
Right. But they took him out, and then
how many congressmen and women have Israeli flags outside of their office?
Dude, like 90%. Like 90%.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And AIPAC boasts that they spent $100 million in the last election
Maybe
cycle.
This was all started not hypothetically. Supposedly, this was all started by, I think you sent me the article. Trump found an Israeli spy in his office.
Yeah, Mike Waltz, the head of our national security, was caught using a signal app that's been modified by Israel, and it passed all the chats, everything, all the national security chats that were going on within the White House were being passed to Mossad and Israeli intelligence. And Trump fired him, and yeah, that was probably where it started. Why he's so pissed. And then look at this. This is from David Riley. He says, just spoke with a general who was in the Mar-a-Lago crowd. He said that AIPAC is getting shut out of the Trump administration, confirmed that Waltz was trying to undermine Trump by working with Netanyahu, and said he is hopeful that the U.S. will decouple from Mossad and MI6.
Huge. Well, here's hoping to a amicable split between U.S. and Israel, because they have no business being inside our government. Because last I checked, this is the United States of America and not Israel. Wait, you know what? Hold on. I've done this before. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna double check. I'm gonna pull up my Google Maps.
Yeah, make sure. Just make sure.
Yeah. Zoom out this California.
You don't want to get called anti-Semite.
Okay, so this says, I don't want to make a big mistake on this podcast. That'd be really embarrassing. So this says the United States of America.
Yeah.
Let me scroll over here in the Middle East somewhere.
Where do you see Israel? Yeah.
Well, wow, that is crazy. It says Israel is here.
Yeah.
Okay, now hold on. Now that's like, it's kind of like by Africa. For those who don't know, it's kind of like by Africa and by Europe. And let me just scroll back.
Yeah, it's at the edge of the Mediterranean.
Yeah. Right. Okay, now I'm scrolling back. And this says United States of America. So that's not Israel, right? Unless I'm mistaken.
No, you're right. It's not.
Oh man. Well, good thing I checked my facts.
And I think it's enough, it's enough. The entire like war on terror, where to go after countries that they're quote unquote enemies, and $6 trillion. I mean, enough. And I think even Hexeth.
Sorry, this is completely off topic, but I have to bring it up. But it's really funny when the U.S. declares war on something, they lose. Like the war on terror won.
Yeah.
The war on obesity won. The war on drugs won. The war on poverty won.
Yeah, because when we say war on something, all we're saying is we're going to create a giant bureaucracy and suck more money out of you guys.
Exactly.
That's all it means.
Yeah.
They don't care about solving anything. Just money, money, money. So even this, Pete Hegseth, U.S. Secretary of Defense, cancels his visit to Israel. This is after we received information from the official Israeli army radio that U.S. president cut off contact. That's huge. This video is yeah.
That really is huge news.
I mean, Hegseth has videos out there saying that we are tied to the hip together, and we have and a shared shared value and shared whatever. And this happened before the modified signal app. It was hacked. So all this information, our national security information, was leaked.
Yeah. So, Trump, hope you got your head on a swivel, buddy, because they're coming for you.
Yeah, that's what
It's gonna be JFK 2.0 Orange Boogaloo.
Yeah, we know these people. They're not. I mean, they don't kid around, right? When this shit starts happening, they do false flags. They do assassinations. I mean,
they'll sink U.S. ships.
Yeah, exactly. What we need to do is bring out the tech from the black world. That's how we can control everyone, unless it's theirs. And then
you mean the African American world?
Yes, the African American world.
Oh, sorry, that was a really bad joke.
So then, apparently, Trump might recognize Palestine. Just the nice cherry on top of all this.
Yeah, but I mean, and this is what I texted you. I said it's a little too late, isn't it? And then
it is a little too late. And it's probably going to be under our control instead of Israeli control. So is that better? I mean,
I texted you. Let's see a U.S. Palestine backed by the U.S. And then I quickly texted back. Never mind. That's a terrible idea.
I mean, honestly, it might be better than what the Israelis are doing to the Palestinians.
Yeah, well,
or maybe not. I don't know. I would like to think we are a better country.
I sure hope so.
The Constitution is a beautiful document. It
would be really nice to go visit Palestine, like
freely. Wouldn't it? Yeah, our grandfather went, and he has stories of how badly they treated him.
Born there.
Yeah, but I mean, like he went to go visit when he retired, and they treated him pretty badly. He was an old man. Bastards, but they're terrible at their borders. So here's this news.
As a part of the Saudi deal, Trump will be recognizing the state of Palestine. Yes, this is real life. A day after cutting ties with Israel, a diplomat close to President Trump has come out and said that he's planning on recognizing the Palestinian state, all to further his agenda of peace in the region. It all started with Trump's deals with Saudi Arabia whenever Israel was demanding the Saudis recognize them as a country during the U.S.-Saudi negotiations. This is whenever Trump essentially called Netanyahu and said, "Why are you involved in this?" We don't know what Netanyahu said back to the president, but we know after that phone call, communications were cut, ties were cut, and even Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, canceled his trip to Israel. Israel then responded saying they're going to defend themselves alone in the region. And then now today, 24 hours after all of that, Trump is going to recognize Palestine. Essentially, a complete 360 twist on our views in the Middle East. Within 48 hours, we went from the most pro-Israel president to the most pro-Arab president of all time. Make sure to follow me for updates on this because this is shatter. This is wild.
They overplayed their hand as usual.
So, just FYI, a 360 twist means a full circle.
That's a good point. What an idiot.
Yeah. Like a 180 twist makes sense. A 360 twist means you're in the same position.
You're back to where you were. Yeah, that's stupid. Anyway, so this is, and all that's happening when after this news came out. Benjamin Netanyahu says Israel plans to seize all of Gaza and hold it indefinitely. Will be intensive.
Yeah.
So that's probably going to change now, I'm thinking.
Here's hoping.
And then we just have nice. We're wrapping up. We have some comedy to go through. You said that's hilarious, man. The MJ,
dude.
The wrong MJ is hilarious.
I have watched this over and over again. I cannot stop laughing.
It's genius.
This guy does such a good Michael Jackson impression. I'm amazed.
Yeah. So basically, he's using his lyrics it's hilarious. Let's watch.
Give it to me. Shoot it, MJ. Give me some time. Oh no, MJ, what are you doing? You know I'm bad.
You know I'm bad.
Oh, genius! Give it to me,
dude. No! It's like
oh no! When he
give it to me. Shoot it, MJ. Give me some time. Oh no, MJ, what are you doing? You know I'm bad.
I can't get enough. I think that's one of the funniest videos I've ever seen. You know I'm bad.
Oh no! It goes.
Give me some time. Play it again.
Okay.
Give it to me. Shoot it, MJ. Give me some time. Oh no! MJ, what are you doing? You know I'm bad.
It's perfect. It's perfect, dude. It's perfect.
Oh
Wow.
man, it's such a. It's so
Ugh.
funny because Hollywood is just total absolute garbage. But people on like these kids on YouTube are so much funnier than they are.
They are. Yeah, they definitely are. Oh, that's so funny. All right, he's Tim Dillon. making fun of-
Oh
Oh no! Give it to me. And he goes, "Give me some time." He's like, "Shoot him, MJ. Give me some time." Oh wow. Oh. All right, so here's a clip of Tim Dillon making fun of Sam Harris.
Trump got elected, what's interesting to see is that things have gotten a lot messier and a lot more complicated all over the place. People can't as easily identify with a side. It's not left or right. Like, for example, Sam Harris, who's a liberal but critical of Islam, who runs a meditation app, but also believes that Israel should just bomb anyone at any time that it thinks. It is hilarious to be a guy who runs a meditation app and he spends half the time telling people about breathing and how to self-actualize, and the other half of the time telling people that we need to bomb as many children as humanly possible until Israel feels comfortable. That's just an interesting archetype of person. I want you to breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. I want to start from your breath and start from your breathing. What we need to do is indiscriminately bomb women and children. We need to indiscriminately bomb women and children right now. Imagine you're a drone. Feel the freedom of being a drone. Where would you fly if you were a drone? Iran? I think you'd fly right to Iran. You'd fly to Iran and eliminate their nuclear capability. You'd do it before you even had the chance to find a diplomatic solution. I want you to breathe. I want you to breathe in and out right now. I want you to imagine an apartment complex. There's children playing soccer outside. Now it's gone. It's gone because there were bad people in it. Now they're all gone. Now it's rubble. And I know it's sad, but it's necessary. Collateral damage. I want you to say 2 words. Collateral damage. Focus on your breathing. Manifest the reality you want to see. Do people from Gaza still live there? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. They're gone. Where are they? We don't know. Focus on your breathing in and out.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh, dude.
Give it to me. Shoot it, MJ. Give me some time. Oh no! MJ, what are you doing? You know I'm bad. Give it.
Oh man.
Oh boy.
Woo. Oh.
Oh man.
Well, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. That was a great episode, cuz.
It was. Oh man, I'm still laughing. I'm gonna send that to my brothers.
Give it to me.
It's
me
perfect.
some time.
Oh no.
Oh no. You know I'm bad.
All right. So
Oh,
what are we?
man.
What are we gonna do next week? I did remember one. I was like, oh man, we should do that one. There was. I forgot.
We'll figure it out. We got a whole week before that episode.
Yes, we do. But yes. So you've been listening to this. So you did find us somewhere, probably on any podcasting platform or any video platform. But did you know we are on X exclusively? So go on over there, follow UAP the podcast. Both of us are on there as well. I'm at Breakaway Civil, and Topher is at Topher at all. I'm not seeing them on our screens. Interesting. Usually they're there. Our profile pictures.
Oh yeah, I just realized that.
Yeah. There is a support link under each episode. As you know, we do not do any ad reads or put any ads in our videos. So,
But we will.
But we will unless people start supporting the show and and sending us some support. So click on that and give us some feedback. Let us know how we're doing. Share us with your friends and family, all that stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah, grab a friend, grab a family member, share the show with us, or share the show with them. Share us with them.
Yes.
Like Adam said, we love to hear your feedback, and we do listen to it. We don't always respond to it, but we do listen to it. We take it in stride.
Yeah.
we want to thank you all so much for listening to the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. And any last words, cuz?
I don't think so. I think that's about everything. We'll see you all next week.
Yeah, and my last words are, I'm bad.
Oh no.
Oh no. We'll see y'all next week.
Day by day, night by night, where do I stand? Where do I fight? The conspiracy has taken me, and now I'm fighting relentlessly. What's the truth and what's the lie? Will we forever fight and die? We uncover truths and tell you what's the news, what they won't tell you. It's Adam and Topher. We come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. We tell you the UFO news at last. Forgive us for being brief, but the truth never sleeps. Day by day, night by night, where do I stand? Where do I fight? The conspiracy is taking me, now I'm fighting relentlessly. What's the truth and what's the lie? Will we forever fight and die? We uncover truths and tell you what's the news, what they won't tell you. It's Adam and Topher. We come in peace. Our hunt for the truth will never cease. It's the Uncovering Anomalies podcast. We tell you the UFO news at last. Forgive us for being brief, but the truth never sleeps.